All right, there, lovely internet people. Welcome to Bag of Giving. We are back, people. From a short hiatus, Bag of Giving has returned to our lovely home here on Arv's Twitch stream. Thanks for coming out to our return for what I guess we're calling season two, in terms of a seasonal thing that stretches for like 10 months. I don't know how seasons work. But the important thing is that we're back. And I'm excited to see you out there in the interwebs, and to see a run through of a fabulous game tonight here on the stream. We're going to be playing a Plant Girl game from Dominique Dickey. And it is an absolutely fabulous game. I backed it myself on GameFound. It is about plants and community and solving crises. And it is just going to be absolutely amazing. And we get to show it to you folks before the game even comes out. Although pre-orders are open right now, I'm going to be dropping the link for that very shortly. And you should really go check it out, because seriously, this game is awesome. So I'm incredibly thankful that we have these folks here showing off this game. I've gotten ahead of myself, though. If you are, if this is your first time here, or if you're back and it's been a while, Bag of Giving is a monthly stream here on Arv's channel. What we do is we bring together authors and other creative types to play one-shots of tabletop role-playing games. We did a whole bunch of different games last season, but we're not just about bringing together cool people to have fun. The other thing that we do is we try to spotlight local charities, put a little good out into the world, and hopefully ask folks to think about these charities, think about communities in need, and provide some support. So we'll be dropping a link periodically throughout the stream, but what we do on our website is we have a list of a variety of charities in areas like health justice, housing justice, civil rights, and so forth, from across various countries. And if you donate to any of those local charities. Sometimes we spotlight specific ones, but for this inaugural run, we're just kind of sharing the love. If you donate to any of them and let us know, you will be entered to win a whole host of prizes on our prize wall up on our website. It includes books, some books by folks you're going to see playing tonight. It includes copies of games. We've gotten some amazing donations from games publishers as well. Story critiques and all sorts of other cool stuff is on there. Whenever you donate, you will get entered into the draw. So we draw folks off of the prize wall every month. So whether you're watching this live right now, or you're watching this a week from now, or you're watching it a month from now, or maybe even a year from now, who knows? Go on, you can check out on our website, bagofgiving.com, look at the prize wall, look at our charities. And again, if you're able to do a little good, that would be amazing. If signal boosting is what you can do, we're cool with that too. All the support is great for these charities, and we really appreciate it. So we'll mention that again probably after the break. But again, just wanted to tell people a little bit about what Bag of Giving is and what we do. I also didn't mention who I am. You're listening to this disembodied voice, and you have no idea who this is. I am clearly out of practice. My name is Brandon Crilly. I'm one of the co-founders of Bag of Giving, along with Michael R. Underwood, who may be in here tonight at some point, I'm not sure. I'm an Ottawa-based author of sci-fi and fantasy, this is Bag of Giving. So I am going to turn things over in just a few seconds to our lovely players for tonight, and I'll let them introduce the game and introduce each other. I hope you folks enjoy. So this is my warning to the players that you're going to be live in like 5 seconds. Hope you enjoy.
Is it go time? Okay. Oh, there we are. Okay. Um, hello. I'm Dominique Dickey. I am a writer, editor, and all-around RPG hooligan, and I guess generally a hooligan. Um, I am the designer of Plant Girl Game. I use they them pronouns. What else is important about me? I am super amped to be here, and my tea infuser is a leaf. Um, I'm gonna kick it over to CJ for introductions.
Hi, I'm CJ. My pronouns are he, him. I am the editor of Plant Girl Game and usually a GM, but very excited to be playing this tonight. Sienna, let's go to you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sienna Tristen. I use they, them pronouns in this space, and I'm a plant. I just am. I'm a plant in the body of a whatever this is. And I don't usually play TTRPGs, but I could not pass up the chance to play this one because it just seems so wholesome and up my alley. So I'm very excited to be here this evening. Gailey, what about you?
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Sarah Gailey. I'm an author and general problem. I'm probably most closely identified as a fungus. I use they, them pronouns, and I got to do a little bit of writing for Plant Girl Game, and I have just been so excited for it to be in the world. And when the opportunity to play it came up, I was like, 100% yes, I will blow up anything in my life that I need to in order to make this happen. And then they said I didn't have to blow anything up, which was like really exciting. So buy this game, play it. You won't have to blow anything up to do that.
Kind of a missed opportunity, honestly.
I'm saying, I mean, like, I think we need more barriers in games vis-a-vis explosive like requirements, but that's discourse. I don't want to get mired in it. I know we'll fight.
That will be the second edition. Also, I have been so brave about staying out of discourse today, and I'm not going to start now. Okay, let's jump in. So, Plant Girl Game is a game about a family of plant children working to prevent an ecological disaster in their small town. Um, it starts with a bit of world building, even before you get into character creation, where players and the GM will collaboratively design your mom and your home and your town. I'll also say that Plant Girl in the title refers to your mom, who is a plant witch who grew you out of succulents in her garden. You do not have to be a girl to play Plant Girl Game. I am not a girl, and I made Plant Girl Game. Um, so let's start by talking about your mother. And some of this world building was done off stream to kind of streamline getting into gameplay tonight. So I'll, tell you a bit about your mom. Her name is Madison, and I am gonna pick on CJ and go in the same order again. What does she look like?
Our mom, Madison, is extremely tiny. She is maybe 5 feet tall. And she has extremely vibrant green hair that curls like the tendrils of ivy climbing up a chimney. And despite her height, she kind of has like a pretty intimidating vibe. I think she dresses very simply and practically, and is frequently wearing a apron and like boots that you can garden in, and seldom smiles, but when she does, it is one of the best feelings in the world to have elicited that.
That is so sweet. Okay, I love that. Um, and to keep talking about Madison, one thing that she does that makes you all feel loved is that she gives everyone a hug or a high five or maybe a handshake, depending on your individual preferences, last thing before bed and first thing in the morning. And the best advice that she gives you and your siblings is to act with love even when you're angry. But it is okay to be angry sometimes. Sometimes you need to be angry. And I'm going to pick on Sienna for this one. What do you wish she understood better about all of you?
I think that Mama Madison hasn't quite got it in her head that we're not just plants anymore. We all sort of popped up out of the garden at a certain age when we were ready. And I feel like sometimes, especially when she's stressed, she sort of reverts back to the thinking that like all it's going to take to fix our problems is like the right amount of water, the right amount of sunlight, and like good soil. And it's not that simple anymore. And that can be frustrating.
Totally, totally. And for our next question, I'll go to Gailey. What's something that you three have kept from her as a group and why?
So we have been fixing up this old motorcycle that we found. We hid it, we kind of like stashed it in this like abandoned slash condemned barn right on the edge of town. We found this motorcycle and we were like, oh my God, it would be so cool to have a motorcycle. Mom would not want us to have a motorcycle. And fixing up a motorcycle is like difficult and kind of dangerous sometimes. But we're like, I'm pretty sure I can do anything that I decide to try. I have that audacity. And so we've been working on fixing it up and we finally got it to start the other night. So it's like we're getting close with it, I think.
Ooh,
And if
okay,
she just would not, she would not be cool. She would not like it.
is she like anti-motorcycle or just anti-motorcycle for children or anti-motorcycle for her children specifically?
She's anti-motorcycle for her children specifically. She actually she has ridden motorcycles. She has known and like maybe dated people who've ridden motorcycles, but she intimately knows the degree of hand-eye coordination we each have, and she does not feel that that is adequate for motorcycle related activities.
Solid. Okay. So in addition to, her kind of shooting down your motorcycle dreams, one thing that she does that frustrates you is that she sings along loudly to the radio, even though none of you really vibe with her taste in music. I think you've all kind of gotten to an age where you have your own taste and can pick out what you want to listen to, and this is just not it. And she also has a tendency to ask either or questions that feel prescriptive rather than leaving things open-ended. So if you've come home from school and had a fight with your best friend and you're trying to tell her about it, she might say, well, did that make you feel frustrated or sad? And maybe it was neither. Maybe you just want to be able to talk about having a totally different experience that's not encompassed in those options. But she's excellent at making banana chocolate chip pancakes. And she is also excellent at cleaning up scraped knees and other general ouches without making anything sting. She has this thing she does with the antiseptic where it doesn't hurt at all. That is your mom.
She's perfectly prepared for motorcycle mishaps, is what I'm hearing.
I'm saying, like, we already have all the resources we need to deal with whatever could go wrong.
You can try to convince her that. But yeah. And she's a good mom. She's got her kids' best interests at heart, but she's a whole person. People are complicated. Now let's talk about your home. It's fundamentally a cozy and welcoming home. And the outside of the house is red brick and it's got a navy blue front door. And CJ, what's the first thing you see when you step inside?
There is a bookcase directly to the left of the front door, but I think we have other bookcases in our house that contain books. This bookcase has all of our mother's like gardening stuff for like quick grabs. So there's maybe like potting soil and empty pots and like bags of seeds and things like that, an apron hanging up, gardening gloves.
Got it. Okay. I guess that makes sense given that I imagine your mom spends a lot of time in her garden and you might as well. And then aside from the garden, an area of the house that you guys spend the most time in would be your kitchen. It's a pretty large eat-in kitchen with a dining table that's big enough for everyone. And everyone does their homework together at the kitchen table, which means that when dinner is ready, you all work together to clear all your stuff out of the way so that your food can be served. And to get into areas of the house that are currently off limits, the basement is in the middle of renovations. Progress has been delayed for the past month or so, but your mom says not to go down there in case there's like construction equipment or nails or broken glass or anything like that, just to make sure that you guys are staying safe. And Sienna, what is the newest thing in your house?
So following on the renovations thing, I feel like Mama Madison's been on a bit of a renovation kick. So the newest thing in the house, so there's an upstairs floor where the kind of all the bedrooms are, and the stairway up there has a banister that has been newly decorated with all sorts of foliage and like little like bird decorations that have been like tied on there. Like big fan of interior decor. All of a sudden this is a new phase, and so we're all getting used to not actually being able to put our hand on the banister to run up there, because now there's like ivy and stuff like just covering it, and your hand will just get poked by like a bird beak or something like that. So we're all getting used to that.
Your mom she's having a real like interior design renovation nesting moment.
It's a moment.
Yeah, like if you own a house, you better like make the house exactly what you want it to be. And then another room that we're going to talk about is the attic. And Sarah, what is the coolest thing about the attic?
The attic is haunted, but in a very cool way. It is haunted by not the ghost of a person, but the ghost of a plant. It's this ivy that used to grow up the brick, and it was like really intense and really in there. And then when our mama had to cut it back, the ivy left a spirit in the attic. And so you can kind of go up there and like chit chat with it. It mostly cares about like tendril related issues, and like elevation related conversations. So like it's very excited whenever one of us has had a growth spurt. But it's a good listener. And if you ever just really need a hug, you can get up in the attic and get a little squeeze.
That is so precious. Oh my God. Okay. Definitely gonna find a way to get y'all interacting with this ivy ghost in our session. Um, so that is your cozy and welcoming home. Let's talk about your town. It is a collapsing town on the verge of an ecological disaster. And that's where you guys come in. You're gonna, do what you can to either stop it or mitigate it. So you live in a town called West Linton. It is pretty small, 2,500 people, so very small. It's not the kind of town where everyone knows everyone else's names, but individual neighborhoods are very close. And everyone knows someone who works in the zinc mines, and the zinc mines go in a pretty complicated network of tunnels all throughout underneath the town. And CJ, what's your favorite place in town to spend time as family?
So our favorite place to spend time as a family is actually the junkyard at the edge of town, which sounds maybe not intuitive, but I think there's a garden supply company that dumps just like a ton of wood chips in one corner of this junkyard every year when they realize they've over-ordered or overproduced them. And so our mom likes going there for free wood chips. We, as we've gotten older, have gotten more adventurous and gotten really interested in some of the old automobiles and things in the junkyard. And that may or may not be how we acquired our motorcycle.
Got it. Okay. And I'm going to switch the order a little bit for these next two. Sarah, what is one notable landmark in your town?
Oh my God, the Zinc Museum. And like every field trip is to the Zinc Museum. And we have to go to the Zinc Museum on Mom's birthday. And it's like, it's just about the history of zinc, which is like not that extensive because zinc is,
He spent most of his time in the ground, honestly.
Yeah.
Like and a long nap.
Yeah. And like,
boring.
There's some pictures of like when the mine was first opened and some like old shoes. Oh my God, Mom loves the old shoes, and she's always like, "Do you think you look cute in these shoes?" And it's just like I love her, but like kind of done with the Zinc Museum. But it's also one of the only things to do. So like you take your excitement where you can get it.
I mean, your town does have the largest zinc mine in the continental US, so it does make sense that you'd have a zinc museum.
We love a theme.
Yeah, we do. Now, your school is called Linton Academy, and Sienna, what is your school's mascot?
Our school's mascot is Lenny the Labrador. He's a black lab. who we actually have a dog. Like the principal of the academy does have a black lab named Lenny. So this is not just a costume, although a costume also does exist, but there is a dog, and the dog will sometimes make a visit to a classroom when you've done particularly well on a group project or something like that.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that so much. Okay, let's some more things about your town. Some fast facts. Biggest industry, zinc mining. Economically, doing really well. A lot of people have moved to the area to find work in the mine, which always needs new hands. It's a pretty involved operation. Magic outside of your mom's plant powers is pretty rare. So you guys tend to keep it a secret that you came out of the garden. That's kind of not the thing that would go over pretty well around here. In terms of like level of technology that you have access to, I would say like late 2000s, early 2010s. Like you've got an iPhone, but do you have like 5G? I don't think so. Well, do you have an iPhone like as an individual? I don't know, but theoretically you could.
Can I just as a like memory palace moment, those phones that were like shaped like this, but then you slide a keyboard up out of it. That was my bread and butter 2008. I miss that phone every day.
I miss my phone like that. I miss my phone like that so much. I think phones that slid and also flip phones were so much like, just in terms of like having a sensory experience, so much more rewarding than like a flat touch screen. Like I want clicky things.
The tactile, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You were
Feedback.
in a time period where phones have clicky things.
Yes.
And the ecological disaster that West Linsalt is headed towards is a sinkhole. And the human-driven factors that have made that worse is that the mine has tunnels that extend under most of the town and is becoming structurally unsound due to irresponsible engineering. And one name to know in that arena is that Athena McConnell is the head of Black Dog Mineral, which owns the mine, and tends to cut corners in the name of profit. And you would also know that a pretty substantial mining tunnel extends under your home. So if that mine roof collapses, you might lose your house and your mom's garden. Another thing, just to make matters worse, is that if the mine fails and Black Dog Mineral goes under, all those people that move to your town to find work in the mine will probably move elsewhere to keep looking for work, which would threaten your town's future because of all of that, prosperity that's come with all those new people. So that gets us through world building. Does anyone want to add things while we're still here, or should we go on to character creation? Okay. Pulling up everyone's character choices again, sorry. So there are 9 different character types to choose from in Plant Girl Game, and they're all based on types of succulents. And everyone has already selected theirs in advance. Is it cool if I go in the order that we have on our document thingy? Okay. So Sienna, you picked the Sedum playbook. And would you mind just talking us through the little bit of flavor text at the top, and then your character traits, and then we'll go through your background questions together?
Sure thing. Just going to grab this here. Okay. So sedum plants grow delicate clusters of star-shaped flowers with little care. You're able to find beauty in hardship. Your central conflict lies in learning that there's a time and a place for optimism, but sometimes realism is necessary. So the stats on this little guy: 2 heart, 1 mind, and 2 body. Tough little thing. Shall I go through the traits as well?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay, great. So traits for the sedum: rose-colored glasses. You're good at looking on the bright side. Once per session, you'll share your positivity with a character who's in a rut and inspire them with your upbeat energy. A second trait is colorful expression. You convey your emotions through art once per session. Describe a masterpiece you've made and how it changes someone's opinion. And the last trait, which is a trait that we all have at our disposal, is to talk it out, so we can possibly resolve something through a conversation instead of through one of our many wiles.
Awesome. And now on to background questions. What's your name and who chose it for you?
My name is Bee, short for Beatrice. And I feel like we have this tradition in the house where the last plant child who popped out of the ground gets to help Mama Madison choose the name of the new one who pops up. So I feel like Bee's probably the youngest of the three at this point. So whoever is the next oldest helped in the naming making decision making point of that.
Cool. So our next question is, how old are you? Which, if you guys want to kind of sort out age order, you can all jump in on this one. If people have thoughts about who is the middleest and who is the
the middleest child.
I just from my character traits, I would feel comfortable with an oldest vibe.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I'm good with the middle child. I don't know what state our town is in, but I think my character just got her learner's permit. So whatever age that makes that possible.
So you would be
anywhere from 14 to
15
17,
and a
depending
half.
on, yeah, something like that. If we're saying
Yeah, I'm going on
there's
California
something
rules,
in
sorry.
California, you're good.
I'm going to put B at around 12 in that case. A very precocious 12. A very motorcycle riding 12.
I have to stand up and cover up my camera to let this pathetic urchin out of this room. But I'm still listening and we'll be back in like 10 seconds.
All good. CJ, do you want to say like 14?
Yeah, we can say, I mean, if Sarah's good with having an older character, I'm fine with 15 and a half. 14 is good with me too.
Okay.
Either's good.
Okay.
Yes, that works great for me.
Okay, cool. And what does B look like?
B is there's a term that is used with plants where they can get a bit leggy. B is a bit leggy. B is kind of at an awkward proportional moment. Being a preteen, is about to go through that growth spurt. The Ivy Ghost is really excited about it, really encouraging it, but we're not quite there yet in all the right places. So like a little bit limby, a little bit leggy. Still has baby cheeks, is a point of contention. And has a light colored hair that's usually put up in two fat braids with these kind of faded streaks of clearly homemade color that is faded out in sort of pinks and greens, possibly in an attempt to look more like Mama's beautiful green hair.
I have some very, very sad looking leggy succulents in my living room window right now. Like I feel that. I feel that. Okay. Describe the last time you felt creatively blocked and how did you get your groove back?
So B takes it, used to take art very not seriously and very sort of playfully, and would just dabble in things, and has tried felting and has tried embroidery and has tried like ukulele, but really finds a lot in illustration, like in cartooning and drawing. But quite recently I started taking it a little bit too seriously in terms of improving for improvement's sake. I have this friend at school who's like a really good artist, especially for our age, and sort of subconsciously started like comparing maybe a little too much, just kind of where we both are in our artistic journeys. And it got to the point where it stopped being so fun anymore and started being very much about like the taste skill gap of like, oh, I want to draw like this, but I can't yet. I'm seeing people who are like, yes, I understand this.
Just the taste skill gap is something that I think about like every day.
A lot, right? So does B. At a tender age of 12, B has realized that what B wants to draw is not actually what B can draw yet. And sometimes that could be very frustrating, and eventually got frustrating enough that B took a sabbatical from drawing altogether and just kind of put it all down, and you saw like a sketchbook kind of in the back drawer and stuff, and a surplus of felting projects all of a sudden. And the way that B got the groove back was to try a completely different medium. Was able to go and sign up for like a little dinky ukulele class in the community center, the West Lensalt Community Center, and like there was like 3 people in the class, and it's not super inspired, but it was enough to be like, this is an art form that I have no contact with yet. Like, I'm just playing here. I know I'm bad at this, and that's okay. And that sort of free-spiritedness was able to seep back in as well to things that B takes a little more seriously and has a little bit more investment in. So that's how B got the groove back.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I feel like you really do have to take off the pressure to be good. To like,
yeah.
In order to become good, you can't be worried about getting good,
You gotta just be where it's the personal best thing. Like, you can't compare to other people. You gotta, especially people who are your age but maybe have different circumstances, you just gotta do your thing, right? So that's totally what B's learning.
And in your broader community, who is B the closest with? And can you tell me a bit about them? I know the text says 3 facts about them and 3 words to describe your relationship, but we can be like more open-ended than that.
A little more nebulous.
Yeah.
So that friend in school that I mentioned, her name's Elena Shechki, and she is, I'll spell it for you in the doc.
I was like, I'm gonna need that one typed.
Yeah. It's a girl in B's grade at the academy, and is a really brilliant, for her age, really brilliant visual artist, and is like president of the art club, and they've become, really tight friends, have a really supportive friendship. Elena has perhaps a more troubled home than we do with our mama at home. Her parents are really busy. Her father works in the zinc mine. They're not home very often, and the times that B has been over for play dates and stuff has kind of noticed and not said anything, that the house is kind of neglected, doesn't have the same care that is very obviously in our home, and is quite messy as well. And perhaps this sometimes comes into the way that Elena can talk to people, even her friends. She can be kind of abrupt, she can be kind of mean sometimes, but B is an optimist and tries her best to take it to not to heart, but to see the bright side and to see the good, and take it in good faith. Yeah, so ultimately a supportive relationship, maybe a little bit rivalrous in terms of they're both kind of honing their artistic skills, and it's a friendly competition, but sometimes, as previously mentioned, it can subconsciously get a little intense. But yeah.
I feel like at that age especially, it's so hard not to compare yourself to, especially when people have like totally different circumstances. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So before we move on, is there anything else that we should know about B?
I think B has quite a sensitive, sort of empathic, response to people's upset feelings, can be quite tender around them, and so has a bit of a habit of trying to bright side when people, it doesn't really know yet how to just let people be sad. Like, even though mom says like it's okay to be angry sometimes, I don't think it's really landed yet that like really it's okay though, or even what angry can look like. And so I think a lot of the time B tries to shortcut to solutions, or to, it's gonna be okay, like we're gonna make it through, we made it through all kinds of stuff, and doesn't really leave room for friends or siblings to really feel sort of the more complicated emotions.
Yeah. Being 12. That sure does sound like being 12.
It strikes deep.
Yeah. With that, we're going to jump to CJ, who's playing a Haworthia. I'm going to pull up those questions. Would you mind giving us the rundown on your character type and your traits?
For sure. Haworthia plants can grow alone or in clusters and are the hardest succulents to kill. You thrive under pressure. Your central conflict lies in learning to work cooperatively. And then my traits. My first trait is Call to Diamonds. You do your best when backed into a corner. Once per session, you find hope and clarity in a dire situation. How do you share that hope with those around you? And then my second trait is Go It Alone. You know how to work in a team, but some things are best handled solo. Once per session, you charge ahead of your siblings. What advantage do you gain by scouting ahead? And then, like all playbooks, I have the trait Talk It Out.
Cool. Let's start with your name and who chose it for you.
My name is Park. My pronouns are she, her. I think I'm interested to see how Sarah's character was named. But I wonder if we were still getting like in the naming rhythm, and it was sort of a moment of like looking around desperately for a word, and there's a seed brand called Park Seeds. So I wonder if it was like, great, that is a human name. I'm not sure that Park knows this, that's the origin of her name. I think there's maybe like a fake story that she knows.
That is, I could see that coming up in like a really shitty fight, being like, well, you're named after a seed company. We've already established that you are 14, 15. What's your final answer?
Let's go 14. Let's be in a state where it's like, oh, I don't know if a child that age should be driving an automobile.
Cool. Okay. And what do you look like?
So I used to have very dark brown hair that was shoulder length and very straight and sort of like greening at the tips. And I think people would be like, do you dye your hair? Because of course. And I would be like, no. And that was sort of uncomfortable. But I recently shaved my head, which we'll get into later. I have freckles and I think I have a very serious expression, kind of like our mom. And I used to sort of assign myself little uniforms for everything. So I had like a way that I dressed at school and a way that I dressed at softball practice. And recently discovered that like, oh, you don't have to dress like a cartoon character. So I'm figuring that out. Maybe I recently discovered cargo pants, and that's just like changed my life.
Yeah, I am feeling really attacked by assigning yourself a uniform, but we're not going to get into that. Describe the last time you felt defeated and how did you bounce back?
I got my hair cut recently and did just really way too much in trying to describe what I wanted it to look like. And the haircut did not come out well, and I was not happy with it. And I was like, fuck it, we're shaving my head. So that was sort of the bounce back moment. And I think Park is like, was unsure at first and is now really liking it and owning it.
I love that. And in your broader community, who are you the closest with? And then the 3 facts, 3 words thing, but it can be more open-ended than that.
I think there is a girl on my softball team named Violet, and I consider Violet my enemy. Violet is completely normal. Violet has done nothing to me. I think it generally has like a sweet, unassuming personality and is a relatively good leader, like maybe a year older than me, current team captain. Absolutely have a crush on her and have not figured it out yet, and am channeling this energy into this girl is my enemy. And I think I don't think I've lied to any of you about her and what she's done, but it deeply confused. I don't think any of you have been able to figure out like, so what did she do exactly? Why do you hate each other? Does she even hate you? I've never heard anything on that end. Just a whole situation that Park has kind of come up with.
That's so cute. I'm gonna die. I am so excited to see where this is gonna go in gameplay. That is also just a very 14 experience. I'm feeling so dragged by everyone's character so far. Like this game is really just giving people new pathways to inadvertently attack me. Anything else that we should know about Park?
Um, I don't think so. I think that's
Okay,
pretty much her in a nutshell.
cool. We'll jump to Sarah, who is playing an agave. Like, you could just give us the rundown on your character type and your traits.
Yes, so agave plants have strong leaves ending in spiny tips. You are sweet and tough in equal measure, though your fearlessness may be a false front. Your central conflict lies in balancing your outward expression with your core personality. My stats are heart 3, mind 0, body 2. So I'm kind of a tough guy with a heart of gold and not a lot going on in the old thinker. Um, my traits include what to wear. You've grown into your unique aesthetic. Once per session, help a sibling pick out a wardrobe piece that helps them feel cool and empowered. What does your advice help them do? I'm not afraid of the dark. You're not afraid of anything. Once per session, you easily handle something that frightens your siblings. How does your bravery embolden those around you? And then, like everyone else, I have talk it out.
Awesome. And now, what's your name and who chose it for you?
My name is Pluto. Uh, our mom chose it for me. She was having a lot of emotions that day about the planetoid, not a planet question. It was kind of like she had gone to the post office to drop something off at the post office, and the postmaster was like, "Did you hear Pluto's not a planet?" And she was just like, she felt a lot of feelings about it. So when I came up out of the ground, she was like, Pluto. Um, and I feel fine about that, and I don't spend any of
Maybe
my
it's not a
time.
planet, but it sure is a plant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't say Pluto's not a planet. That not a planet's my child. Like, listen, she was having a day, and she does her
Uh,
best.
yeah. Okay. I love this. And we know that you're the oldest. How old are you?
I am 16, and every inch of me thinks that I am 25. Like I am like basically a grown up.
Can you legally drive this motorcycle?
No, certainly not. I mean, by age, I probably could at least get a permit, but I do not have any kind of I have no education in motorcycle handling, and I'm pretty sure I don't need it. I feel like I'll just know. I feel like once I get on it, I'll just know.
Okay.
Me and the motorcycle have a connection. Like I'll just know.
No one understands the way that you relate to this motorcycle.
Yeah, I'm like a horse girl, but for this motorcycle. Like I've been
And
feeding it oats out of the palm of my hand for months now.
yes. And you're gonna like take it to the race and like enter and there'll be an upset and it'll be a whole thing.
Exactly. And everyone else will be like, that motorcycle is a piece of crap. That's not going to do anything. And I'll be like, we'll show them all. I feel
Because of
pretty
your
confident
bond.
about that.
Yeah.
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 And what does Pluto look like? Not
Um,
the plant.
Not plant Pluto has very spiky short hair. Um, we're not talking gelled spikes quite, but it's like it gets like lifted and then it just stays, you know? Um, Pluto is
Yeah.
like a medium height, guys help. What's a medium? What height is a normal person? I'm too short for this. Like 5'5"? Is
5'6" is perfectly average.
5'6"? Okay, 5'6". Pluto is
I'm
an
six is
average
average. I'm
height.
so short.
I know. People say shit like that to me all the time. Like, what are you talking about? 5'6", has this spiky hair, dyed black hair. When Pluto was born, it was like very, very, very pale hair, so it took the dye. Pluto dyed their hair like 3 months ago, and they just got roots, but it hasn't faded at all. And then the unique style described in the traits moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this thrift store right on the edge of town. and we're not supposed to go there by ourselves because our mom says that they sell weed out back. And like when you buy weed that somebody just grew and is selling out of the back of the store, you don't know what you're getting. So like, but of course we go there. Of course we go there. And so Pluto has been collecting leather jackets from this thrift store and adding like punk spikes and patches and embroidering stuff on them. Our mom keeps being like, "Where'd you get this one?" And Pluto keeps being like, "Bee's friend gave it to me." And Mama knows that's not true. She knows that's not true. A couple of these jackets are hers that she dropped off at the thrift store, but she's letting it ride for right now because it's like, at least, you know what? At least Pluto's into crafts and not some crazy shit like fixing up motorcycles.
I mean, that's just a type of crafting, right?
I mean, that, yeah.
Describe the last time you put on a brave face for your siblings. How did you really feel about the situation?
Okay, when we were at the junkyard and we found this motorcycle, the junkyard manager, who is a very, very, very old lady. She's like the first lesbian ever invented. That's her. And she's like, you can't take that motorcycle home. And if you try to, I will tell your mother. And that's when the last time Pluto put on a brave face. Pluto invoked HIPAA and was like, there are confidentiality laws in junkyard ethics. You can't tell people what we do or don't take from the junkyard, and had such conviction and such courage that the junkyard lady was like, wow, you're right. I need to go to some continuing education about junkyard management because I hadn't even heard of this. And we got away with it. But Pluto was quaking in their boots. They were like, oh my God. First of all, Pluto has like Loki idolizes this lady. It was like,
I mean, the first lesbian ever invented.
yeah, this lady has been married to her wife for 40 years. Pluto is like, I want to have a wife someday and I want to have a junkyard so bad. And like kind of the spiky short haircut has been Pluto trying to get the hairstyle of this woman, but it's hard to triangulate because like the woman's wife does it with clippers and Pluto had to do it himself. And so Pluto was like, please don't lose respect for me. Please don't lose respect for me. I want you to mentor me someday. And is really thankful that it worked out.
I love that. Um, and in your broader community, who are you the closest with? And tell me a bit about them.
Pluto doesn't have a lot of friends. Like they are secretly really shy. And so this like tough guy feel is kind of a shield for that shyness. Out of the broader community, I have to check a note in the other documents so I can answer this accurately. Lenny the Labrador.
Okay.
Pluto makes pocket change as a dog walker in the community, goes around and picks up all the dogs and walks them. And Lenny gets his own walks. He is too much of a celebrity to mingle with the other dogs on these walks, and so he gets walks by himself. And Pluto takes him on the longest walks to the junkyard with him to visit Pluto's mentor and idol, walks to the thrift store to check for new leather jackets, walks to the craft store to get new thread, and like just has a real bond with Lenny. And so Lenny is kind of Pluto's best friend.
I love this. I love this so much. Okay, let's jump to family questions. So I think we're gonna stick with the Sienna, Charlie, Sarah order, which means that Sienna, the player to your right is Charlie, and the player to your left is Sarah. Does that make sense? Okay. So everyone, let's start with Sienna and just go around. So let's lead with the the question that says, ask the player to your left.
Okay. One more time for the people in the back, myself. Park on my left, Pluto on my right.
Yes, I think.
Okay. Perfection. Okay. So, Park, what do I most want to protect you from?
Oh, that's a really good one. I think you have seen the way that I can be like very procedural and action oriented, and like maybe out of our family relate least to the like art for art's sake sort of thing. Like I do poorly without objectives. And so you're, I think, in like an unexpected sort of like pocket of child wisdom, you're fearful for me moving even more in that direction. And so you're trying to protect me from losing that sense of like exploration for the sake of it, and like childlike wonder and appreciation of creative things.
Just making my own notes. Amazing. Okay. Well, very sad, but we can work on that. And Pluto, what piece of art did you create that I really love?
B is obsessed with Pluto's flower jacket. Pluto bought a like a canvas jacket, and so made a huge project out of embroidering it and spent like months on this and embroidered it with a lot of little pink flowers that kind of look like your little pink flowers. And secretly stitched your name on the tag and said like, when you're big enough, this jacket can be yours. And I think that's the thing that Pluto has made that B likes most.
Just thinking about embroidery is like, I'm gonna learn to embroider on those leather jackets. Yep, that sure is the way. Great.
So I think we'll hand it off to Charlie next. Did we lose Charlie?
I think. Oh, are you back?
I think I'm back. Yes.
You fell into the void. Don't do that.
So troubling. Yeah, my internet's a little spotty. Apologies about that.
Are you good to do your
Yes,
family questions?
my two family questions. Okay. Sienna, for B, how did I accidentally steal your thunder in a moment that mattered to you?
Ooh. I feel like recently was like end of semester, end of test season. And B was very, very excited about finally having a science grade that was like better than passing. Like B's not super, like, is so interested in the sciences, but so bad at them. And just like desperately wants to up that and be kind of well-rounded and get that side of things, and came back with test results that they're really proud of. And then Park, again, who has a very sort of natural understanding of kind of the machinery of the universe, kind of came in and just like swept everyone out with like kind of perfect grades. And Mama Madison was so excited about this that maybe she kind of neglected to give any much more than a high five to B, who was it was kind of disproportionate to the effort that was put in.
Oh, I am very sorry I did that to you. And Park will maybe have a revelation
It's not your fault.
about
It's okay. We all tried our best.
And then my other.
R.I.P. Well, I can just bail.
Internet, come on.
Yeah.
I think maybe.
Oh,
Ciao.
am I back again?
Yeah, you're
Very
back,
sorry
yeah.
about the internet. Okay. I'll give reading that question another try. What family tradition or routine do you love that I don't like?
Ooh, I love the birthday tradition of going to the Zinc Museum. Pluto loves going to the Zinc Museum. Pluto, every time we go to the Zinc Museum, Pluto is like, look at those shoes, mom's right. And Park is like, I already know about zinc. I know enough. I've learned a sufficient amount about zinc. In part because Pluto doesn't retain the information. So like all of the science facts about zinc land as fresh and new every time. Every time Pluto is like, oh my God, did you know that zinc interacts with sodium like that? And Park is like, yes, yes, yes.
Did you know we eat zinc? Did you know we need it in our bodies?
Did you know you could use zinc as sunscreen? Wow.
And I'm just like folding up my list of museums that are like in nearby towns that we could have gone to instead and shoving it deeper into my pocket because I really tried. I really thought that someone would want to go to like the Science Museum this year or something, because it's bigger and we haven't been there 14 times. No, just me. Okay.
Pluto's like, we got all the science we need right here at the Zinc Museum.
It's important to know your local environment.
And I'm like, I've known my local environment since I'm 8, please.
I feel like you're gonna prove me wrong, but I'm like, have you been alive for long enough to be this jaded about like museums? Any museums? I feel like
it's just this museum specifically. I think I'm really maybe like art museums are tough, but I'm sure like the big science museum and whatever like the biggest city in our state is like would be really amped to go to that. But we've just been to this one a lot,
Yeah.
No one agrees with me.
In terms of like, and this is just out to the table, in terms of like exhibit time, like if you do all the exhibits and activities, how long do you think it takes to like go through the Zinc Museum? Like how big of an outing is this?
12 hours. There is so like what they lack in breadth, they make up for in depth.
I think it depends who's looking at it. I think it is 12 hours for Pluto and 20 minutes max for Park.
Yeah.
I think it was like a few hours the first time because I think Park did read every square inch of exhibit text. And now Park is beginning to memorize every square inch of exhibit text. And that's not a world that she wants to be living in.
You don't want to take your crush, who's also your enemy, to the Zinc Museum and talk about all the zinc sodium interactions?
Absolutely not. I bet Violet hates museums, all museums, even the good ones.
Because Violet's the worst.
Violet, ugh. So captivating and terrible.
There's just there's like a magnetism. I don't know what it is.
It's like so like infuriating and forbidden.
She has a very punchable face, except you want to punch her mouth with your mouth. Sarah, let's do your family question.
Okay, I think I have this right for who's left and who's right. I think that Park is to my left.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Park, why do I think you have the coolest sense of style? Park, why do I think you have the coolest sense of style?
Oh no.
Maybe you didn't think I had the coolest sense of style until like really recently. Like the uniform sort of situation did not do it for you. But now that I'm sort of like baby deer discovering like wearing a different outfit in different contexts, like you're really like activated by that. Like you've been wearing leather jackets for years and I have not appreciated them, but now that I'm like excited about it, that's really exciting for you, because I think they're probably a more generous person than Park generally.
I'm just like, do you know how much you can do with pockets? Like a pocket is like a patch that comes pre-affixed to the pants.
And that just like blew my mind, like being really excited about big pockets. Maybe you also appreciate that, like, yes, Park is discovering her sense of style, but also like utility is very important. So I'm just going out and trying to find cargo pants with the most and biggest pockets imaginable.
Stupendous. Yeah, I support this wholeheartedly. B, how did I encourage you the last time you faced a scary situation?
I think this might have to do with the B's love of art, again, can kind of sometimes be challenged by worrying that B's not good enough at what's going on. And I feel like Pluto, who like just like knows what they love and like tells it as it is, like maybe perhaps heard a lot of this kind of like fussing about drawing stuff, and perhaps went and like snuck in to that drawer where the sketchbook has been stuffed away, and may have flipped through some pages and been like, actually, this is really good, and just decided to tell it like it is, and come and say, you should really like, you should show these off to, like, we should put these in the kitchen, we should put these places, like, you should see your stuff every day because I think it's cool and what I say goes. So I want to see it. So, come on, do your pal a favor. And B was like super, I don't know about that. Like, is it going to make me feel worse about it? But eventually kind of got like strong armed and also confidenced into it. And now there's like kind of like a nice fridge collage of like some of B's, like flower drawings, and like a nice drawing of like Park's winter boots, and like maybe a totally made up and not real drawing of a motorcycle that had absolutely no frame of reference whatsoever.
Your imagination is incredible.
It's just that exactly right. And I think B now feels very encouraged to try maybe more complex forms, or stuff that we find at the junkyard as frame of reference, thanks to Pluto's encouragement.
That's so cute.
Okay, we've got a few more questions just to kind of establish your relationships as characters. So we know that Pluto is the oldest. What's one thing you love about being the oldest, and what's one thing you find challenging?
Something I love about being the oldest is that everybody tells me everything. Like Park and B have their secrets, but not really. There's a lot of like coming to my room at night at bedtime and being like, hey, what are you doing? And then just sort of bleh about the day. And Pluto loves that. Like it really means a lot to them. They hate that our mom kind of like treats them a little bit like a second parent sometimes, like very understandably, but sometimes Pluto is like, I'm not equipped for this. Like I can't be going and talking to the teacher, about the thing that B did, because the teacher looks at me and is like, what are you doing here? Like you're a kid also. And so sometimes it just feels a little unmooring.
And we've got B as the youngest. What's one thing you love about being the youngest, and what's one thing that's challenging?
The cool thing about being the youngest is that everyone else has kind of already done stuff at least once. Like a lot of the things in B's life have a sort of template for how you could do it, not necessarily how it is done, but here's one way that you could do it. And B finds that really helps Bee's imagination to really get going in terms of, oh, how could you do it differently? Or how could you really make it yours? Or I really actually like how that got done, so I'm going to do it that way. So everything from kind of like family recipes to, you know, Pluto and Park have their bedrooms and kind of how they like to decorate things, to just a little bit of everything. It's nice to have like a framework to grab onto and then sort of expand and explode. Something that's challenging is that I think the magic thing is tough for Bee. Bee has only spent a couple of years out of the garden, so to speak, and it's still kind of tough trying to hide that from anyone that's not in the family. Bee just hasn't had enough time yet in community, in sort of non-magical house space, to be okay completely with keeping that a total secret from everyone who's not the family. And so it can be tough because it seems like Bee's older siblings have kind of got that together and don't seem bothered by it. But it's still kind of a soft point.
Totally makes sense. And CJ, you are in the middle. What do you love about being in the middle, and what do you find challenging about it?
I think I like having both an older and younger sibling. I think I like getting to feel like the older sister who gets to give Bee advice and like being a source of reference. And then I think more secretly, I really cherish those times that I go to Pluto's room at night and I ask them for advice or just like sort of rant about my day, and they have like wise words and comfort for me. I think in terms of what I find challenging, I think it's a little bit being a middle child and a little bit my personality. And I think I have kind of tried to cultivate a sense of like, I can do it myself. And I have it under control, and like, maybe you have to worry about my siblings, but you don't have to worry about me. And sometimes that makes me feel like very competent, and sometimes it makes me feel very alone. And I think being in the middle of both siblings kind of compounds that.
Makes sense. And out to the table, how do you welcome new siblings? I know we've talked about how you choose names, but I don't know if you will have any more siblings, but if you did, how would you welcome them?
I would take them up to the attic to meet the ghost. I would be like, before we do anything else,
You gotta get a hug. You gotta get a nice hug from the Ivy Ghost.
Absolutely.
You just popped out. Come on.
Up we go.
Some people have baptism. We have meet the ghost.
Do you like all have like positive first memories of meeting this ghost?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. And when do you feel the most connected to each other?
Motorcycle days, baby.
I was gonna say, like,
Yeah.
even like in the junkyard, even just kind of like looking for scrap, whether it's, you know, spare parts to try and fit into the general schematics of the motorcycle, or like, you know, Bee has found an interesting trinket that looks like it could be made into a craft of some description. Just kind of hunting, like junk hunting, seems like when everyone's talents shine at the same time.
Yeah,
I
like
like
sort
that.
of when we come together on a project. I agree
Yeah.
with that.
And that kind of leads into our next and last question, which is, what do you all have in common? Hunting for junk.
Hating
Violet for no reason.
Yeah, I have created that situation.
I would argue that Park hates Violet for no reason. Bee and Pluto hate Violet because Park hates Violet, which is a reason.
Fair. But I mean, Pluto's just like ready to Violet anytime, and it's just because Park has been like, ugh, Violet.
He's like, I don't really get it, but I trust your judgment. Like,
And this is a situation where Park should never be trusted less.
should not be trusted. But
Yeah.
it's like, in
Least
all other
reliable
things, you're very
narrator.
level-headed. This seems like
Yeah.
it makes sense.
And Pluto is like, I don't trust your judgment, but I have your back. Let's get her.
Oh my God. Just ready to throw down at a moment's notice. Okay, those are all of our world building and kind of pre-play questions. So I guess we can go into our opening scene. Now the purpose of this scene and scenes in Plant Girl Game are kind of played on like a question and answer framework. So we'll go into each scene with a thing that you want to find out in the course of gameplay. It could be a thing that you as a player know, but that your character may not know. Um, yes, Sarah, you're right. Let's actually that is a good point for us to take five. Let's take five and then we'll jump into our first scene. Do we have to be taken off air magically? Ah, thank you.
All right. So, folks out there in the interwebs, yeah, we will be back in just a few minutes, as we are fond of saying here on Arv's stream. A break for the stream means a break for you. And so, stretch, get some water, what have you. And yeah, we'll be back in a few minutes with more Plant Girl Game. but they can hear me. Welcome back, lovely people. Hopefully you can hear me. And actually, if someone could mention in the chat as I'm rambling that you can hear me, that'll make me feel better as I start talking. So we are going to dive back in to the second half of Plant Grow Game in just a moment. If you happen to be just joining us, we again are Bag of Giving. We're a monthly charity stream, lovingly hosted here by Greg on the Arvin Aileron channel, and we are eternally grateful to him for giving us a home here for our little series. We're back for our first game of this new season, playing Plant Grow Game with many of the people involved in the creation of said game, which is fabulous that we get to show this to you folks. And I'm going to mention something new. So part of what we do here at Bag of Giving is we spotlight charities and we do giveaways. There's a prize wall on our website of fabulous books and games and whatnot that you can be entered into. And I'm adding something to the prize wall, to the giveaway, to our scheme. So Plant Grow Game is available right now for pre-order on GameFound. I'm going to drop the link in just a moment. If you're liking what you're seeing, which I hope you are, and you're interested in pre-ordering Plant Grow Game, if you do so, and you send us the proof of your pre-ordering to our email, which is on bagofgiving.com. Again, don't give us any address or personal info or anything like that, but just proof of your pre-order of Plant Grow Game. I will also count that for our giveaways. So you can support a fabulous indie creator of gaming wonder in addition to getting entered into our giveaways. So again, I'll post the link on the chat, and I see the link for bagofgiving.com is already there. Again, if you pre-order Plant Grow Game and support Dom and the publisher behind this, that would be amazing. So please consider that if you would. I am going to bring our players back on screen, so this is my warning to them that you're going to be on camera in 5 seconds. Let us...
We lost Charlie for a second, so that really might be scary.
Okay. And we might have a little bit of internet issue, I think it sounds like, but we're going to jump back in and see how we do.
Okay. Yeah, the overlay is a little bit screwy, but it's fine. Onward and forward. So we've gone through all of the world building and character creation, and we are now jumping into telling our story. So for our opening scene, as I was saying earlier, we're going to have, well, for all scenes, there will be a question and answer framework where we'll go into each scene with something that we want to find out or a tension that we want to explore or resolve. And these can be things where the players know the answers, even if the character doesn't. So for this opening scene, we're looking to establish what are the impending disasters, causes, and effects. Where can your characters seek more information, and what do they need to learn before they can prevent or mitigate it? And how imminent is the danger, or how much time do you have to take action? Now, I think, and I'm very open to people chiming in on this, that I would really like to have Bee's friend, was it Elena, in our opening scene as someone who is connected to the mine and might have a bit of insight about any kind of, cutting corners or instability that is happening in that workplace that might be reflected at home. But I do kind of wonder, is Elena someone that you would take to the junkyard, or is junkyard time just for you and your siblings?
I feel like in that way that when you're quite young and boundaries haven't been fully established in your mind, you're kind of oh, everything's okay, everything's fine, surely. And maybe this was actually a past thing, a recent past thing where B was oh, Elena's just going to come with us. And then maybe, Park took B aside afterwards and was hey, that was really fun once, but it's kind of important to me that, this is a thing that I do with the two of you. And B felt kind of bad about that. And instead of doing anything about it, which is okay, we'll never do it again. sure. And then I have to like, just be like, Elena, no, we'll do something else instead. So I feel like it's one of those things where like it could become a sore spot if it was brought up, but B is just like really determined to dodge around it and find alternate things to do so it doesn't
Got
get
it.
brought up
Okay.
again.
Got it. So this
So
scene is not going to
I'm gonna
happen
be
at the
outside of the
junkyard.
junkyard, I think. Yeah.
Let's go to the Zinc Museum.
Oh my god. Field trip time. Entire
Yes!
school.
It's a school day. You're at the Zinc Museum gathering information for a like extra credit research assignment where if you go to the Zinc Museum and take a picture of a specific exhibit that's going to become relevant to your science fair, then you can get additional points on your presentation. And you guys are walking through the Zinc Museum, and Elena is also there. And I suspect that that Park is kind of like, let's get in, let's get out. I know exactly where the exhibit is. But I want to see, do you guys kind of go along with that energy? Like, are you here like on a mission to just do the assignment and leave, or are you kind of more open to wandering? How do you see your Zinc Museum excursion going?
I am treating this like it's a track meet. You can win at the Zinc Museum, and it's by getting out of the Zinc Museum as fast as possible because you finished the assignment. I suspect others disagree with me.
I think that in the Zinc Museum, like vestibule where you come in and they're like, you're at the Zinc Museum. I think Park laid out the game plan to us and was like, here's where we're going. Here's the turns we're making. You hold on to the back of my jacket and you don't move away from me. Like, we're in, we are out, and we're gonna leave, and then we're gonna go do all these things you like, and like really got us on board. And we were like, got it. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. No problem. Totally on board. And 3 steps in past the vestibule, Pluto saw a sign that was like, touch real zinc, and was like, just
Steered off.
immediately off course, checking out every single exhibit, and keeps on being like, no, but just this one more, because they put new tape on the sign, which means the sign might be changed. We can learn more about
They've
zinc.
recently updated it so that it's bilingual. It's English and Spanish now.
Yeah, and
So you need to read it twice.
That's a big deal.
Do any of you read Spanish? I'm just wondering.
No.
No, but I like the idea of being able to read Spanish, so I will try.
And B, how do you react to the kind of like brutal efficiency, we're gonna get in, get out mindset? Like, what does your museum time experience look like?
Well, I'm thinking back to the fact that my dear sister Park can sometimes be kind of rigid about these things, and thinking I'm kind of comparing and contrasting my 2 siblings right now, and how one of them seems to hold, even though they are the oldest of us, seems to retain that sort of childish wonder every time we go to this admittedly slightly dinky museum, and just to have a genuinely good time, whereas it seems like Park is very impatient with it and getting fed up with it as the years go by. I've only been around for like 2 of them, but I've been around enough to notice there's a definite disparity between how these 2 people interact with this knowledge. And so I think kind of some of my protectiveness is kicking in on trying to find ways to soften this up a little bit. Be like, no, like it can't be interesting though. Like, I know that you're like super smart and you already know all these things, but like maybe something's new. Like, the mine is like always open, and they did make a renovation, and like, you know, just trying to find ways to liven it up and make it interesting again, even though it seems very much like a been here, done that. So I think I'm kind of on Pluto's side of things. I don't think Pluto recognizes that there is a side of anything.
Yeah.
Pluto's just in. But insofar as there can be mediation, I think there's mediation going on. I think B is trying to I think Bees is trying to like soften Park up to the experience, to open Park to the experience of the Zinc Museum in maybe a new angle. And maybe is doing this with being like, here's a personal anecdote that my friend Elena told me about this, actually. Here's something that you don't know, because my friend's dad worked in this mine and actually had said a thing about this particular part of the exhibit and how it's like different now than it was 20 years ago or something like that.
And I think
I'm
Elena
listening.
is able to. Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Dominique.
I'm listening to B, but my eyes are scanning past B to like look for the things we need to find so that we can exit this museum. So it's sort of like the like, yes, that's very nice. I see the first thing we need to go to.
And I think Elena is like aware of the kind of like sibling tension, but also grew up like in a house with someone who works in the mine and knows a lot about the mine and its history, and physically like cannot resist sharing fun facts with Pluto, even though it is making this take longer. So you're getting like the inside information about all the like little bits of the history.
Okay, Pluto loves this. And a little bit of the like Pluto toughness comes out where like Pluto will be like listening, like, yeah, all right. And then what kind of wood did they use to support that tunnel? And then Park will do a little like, can we? And Pluto will be like, not a word. Elena's speaking.
You're listening.
Yeah.
Don't interrupt the 13-year-old.
And I have two questions for you, Sienna, and the first might inform the second. Do you think that Elena has siblings?
I think Elena is an only child.
Okay. And aside from, feeling excited about getting to share this information with someone who's like enthusiastic about it, how do you think Elena kind of reacts to the very clear game plan and then the rapid like schism of the game plan?
I would say that I think that Elena's family's involvement with the mine is complicated for Elena specifically, because on the one hand, it does bring her family like their living and their security and stuff like that. On the other hand, it does make it so that her parents are like rarely around to like pay attention and kind of like make their house a home and all of this. So the relationship there is complex, and that relationship perhaps sometimes can be expressed or embodied in this museum. And so I think Elena I don't think Elena dislikes the museum. Au contraire, I think that maybe there's something in there of like, okay, like this is worth something. Like this is, see, this is important. This is important. This is why, dad doesn't come home a lot of times, like because it's super important. And so seeing Park be like, super don't care, maybe stings a little bit in a way that's kind of sublimated, like it's kind of projecting. And so the fact that Pluto is like super just like in it, and that B, who is Elena's friend, in other contexts, is also kind of interested. Like I feel like there's a bit of a projection going on of like, I can tell you interesting things. Like my life is important. My family's life is important. This is what we do. And so is maybe in the way that only a 12, 13-year-old can be, a little bit smug, that this has gone awry so quickly.
I love that. And I think the exhibit that Elena is the most excited about and is like talking Pluto through in so much loving and nuanced detail is there's like a scale model of the town that shows where all of the
tunnels
go.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got like all the like inside knowledge on like, yeah, like there's a tunnel under the junkyard that people don't know about it because it's on private property. technically, but there's a like ventilation shaft for the mines that lets out like right outside the junkyard. And like if you go out there, like you can see where this vent shaft is, but like no one ever thinks to look for it. And he's also able to point out some things that like seem kind of sus, um like pointing out sites of like every tunnel cave in the past 5 years. Just off the dome, knows where they all are. I think that comes from a place of like really knowing that her dad works in a dangerous field and trying to be that thing of like, well, if I'm as informed as possible, then certainly nothing bad will happen. So having like a very rich backlog of all the things that have gone wrong, and then using that to kind of prepare for things that, or like to mentally prepare for things that could go wrong. Um, and your conversation turns to pointing out, a tunnel that her dad has mentioned that he's worked in recently and doesn't really feel safe in, and has tried to stay out of. And her mom is kind of pushing for her dad to avoid work assignments that would lead to working in that area of the mine. And if you look up on the scale map, depiction of the town of the scale model of the mining tunnels, that's pretty much your neighborhood.
I think this
And
has
she
my
is like
attention
very
now. And I think I start to ask questions, and I'm like, how long has that been like an active, like it, so that's an active mining site right now? Because Park is not a scientist, but she does know that generally for a thing to not fall down, there does need to be another thing under it. And it seems like there's not a whole lot of things under the other things, which is our house. So I think I asked
Yeah.
Elena that question.
Yeah. So and Alina gets into how Black Dog Mineral like owns the like your mom, owns the property, but there's a limit to like how far underground actually counts as your property. And Black Dog Mineral owns like the underground rights to like the entire town. Like if you dig far enough down, it's not your land anymore. That is their land. And if they want to put a tunnel there, they just will. And it's kind of messed up, but it's, it means that the mine can keep getting bigger and bigger and more productive. And it means that a lot of people have jobs. But yeah, that's an active mining tunnel. And I mean, you can see it on the scale model. It's probably reinforced, they reinforce them with like wood beams. But yeah, there's a tunnel and it looks like it goes pretty close to where you live.
Pluto has been paying extremely close attention because Pluto has a fantasy of being able to go down in the tunnel through the basement and then come up out through the junkyard. Pluto has like this completely imagined reality that they will become a criminal mastermind and manage to make this journey. So Pluto's also very invested, and really wants to know how deep below the floor of the basement that tunnel is, not out of caution, but out of a desire to build a secret secondary tunnel that goes from the basement to the tunnel. Like, how deep is it?
It should be about like 25 to 50 feet down, which means that like your basement might be like 10 to 15 feet down. So not that far under your basement.
Is 10 feet between the basement floor and the ceiling of the tunnel a lot?
No, that's not a really big margin, which is, part of the problem. But, Black Dog, they know that there's zinc in that area. There's zinc deposits, and they don't want to leave them untouched when they could access them. So it might mean that the tunnels kind of go too close to property, but
How is
legally they
that
can do it.
legal? How is that legal?
Legally they can do it.
How? What
Out
law?
of character. I don't know if that's actual law, but
But I think
legally,
that's
Black Dog
the.
Mineral in your fictional town can do it.
I
we
think
can
Park is enraged about that realization.
I bet
And
they
Yeah.
just pay
Mhm.
lobbyists. They just pay lobbyists to like
Yeah.
influence local government and the zoning ordinances. This is Gailey speaking. This is absolutely not Pluto speaking. Pluto has no
But
idea
just
what
for
an
people who
ordinance is.
really need to know, this is it.
If you really want to get into the world building of this game, talk about your local government. Yeah, Black Dog Mineral like owns city council. Yeah, it's legal because they made it legal.
B can very Park is not making it a secret that she is unhappy about this.
No, not at all.
Not in the
Park
slightest,
is
and
visibly up, like quite angry.
not good about this. Yeah, and B can see that that's a thing, and also can't really see like but can also see that that Pluto is like really jazzed about this, and can't necessarily make the logic jump to like what if something happens, and so I think B is here between the fact that her friend is here telling these things and seems like really excited about this and like wanting to sort of soothe Park a little bit, and seeing this sparkle in Pluto's eye and like having heard the junkyard thing is like, I think I see what we're going towards. B is trying to kind of put a brighter spin on this and might bring up like, oh, like that, it could be interesting to like explore. Like we could talk to mom about it. There's the basement's being renovated right now. Like there's nothing stopping us from asking for like
a secret tunnel.
A hole, like,
Or
ask the builders to put a hole in the base.
we could also
mom's got plant magic. We can just ask, like, plants come out of ground. I don't know how it works. I just think that there's definitely a way that we could make this an interesting adventure and not a problem. It doesn't have to be a problem.
Hey, does Elena know that we have plant magic? Or did we?
That's a good question.
Did we just inform her just now?
No. No. Oh no.
So I think Elena's gonna have follow-up questions about the plant magic that's gonna rapidly derail this conversation.
It becomes about something else very quickly.
Yeah.
I think we are saved because Park is like, hey, this is not cool. This is upset. Like Elena's maybe about to be like, wait, and Park is like literally stomps, but like, hey, listen.
Yeah.
I'm not an architect.
Plant magic do come out, but it's like, you're a kid. You don't mean real plant magic. It's like
she just has a really nice garden. She's good at plants.
Exactly.
I don't think I even address it. And
no. They did.
Yeah. And we just like steamroll forward, and Elena's like, "What are you?" And I'm like I'm looking at Pluto, I think, because I think I can tell that B, already is like, oh, maybe both things. But Pluto is like drinking the "it would be cool to have a hole in the basement" Kool-Aid. And Park is like, that is not Kool-Aid, that's rat poison. Let's like put the theoretical Kool-Aid down and talk about the fact our house is going to collapse.
I mean, it wouldn't. Wait, and then Pluto turns to the like model that shows the town and shows you the like anthill thing of the tunnel underneath the houses and like looks really closely at that and is like, okay, I see how this could be a problem.
Yep.
And I think B interjects here of like, well, but they said that they reinforced them. Like, that's got to be really strong. Like, otherwise, it's kind of one of those, like, it would have collapsed already if thinking this is really encouraging, right? Like, it would have collapsed already if it was going to do that. They have supports. Elena, they're strong supports, right? Like, you said that they were reinforced.
They're made of wood, right? And Pluto's going to point at like, in this little like diorama, there's little toothpicks. Like,
yes, the toothpicks do represent the wooden support beams.
Well, we can out right now. And then Pluto is just gonna punch the shit out of the side of this diorama so it shakes, and the toothpicks are gonna crack and it'll collapse.
I think
They all just
that
fall
is
over.
when a what is the word for like the museum person
Oh, the
guide?
docent?
Curator.
Yeah, a docent is like, excuse me,
This is an
you can't
emergency. We're not safe.
um if you're going to damage I understand that you're here for a school project, but if you're going to damage the exhibits, you will be asked to leave.
Park, does this elate you?
I was gonna say.
I think yes and no, because on one hand, would love nothing more to exit than to exit the Zinc Museum. However, I'm wondering if this Zinc Museum curator has information about this new model. And I'm going to say, does the model represent how structurally sound the mining construction is?
The model is built out of coconut fiber soil and toothpicks, which I would argue is not analogous to the actual building materials of the mine. But also, our intern worked very hard on that.
So what about the actual mine though? Like does that, and I try to point and then I realize it's not collapsed. Back when it was not collapsed, was that like you think the mining is okay?
Um,
I am interrogating an adult.
yeah. I'm trying to figure out like, does the curator try to actually answer that or deflect? Which I think what the curator, or not the curator, like the docent would want to is probably like a volunteer, and was told to say that the the scale of the like upper level model of Westland Salt is accurate, because that is a model that was like created for city council and for like zoning bullshit, whatever. But the exact scale and like structural soundness, etc., of the tunnels underneath um, can't be guaranteed, because that was just to create a visual representation. And also, part of your assignment was to take a picture of that, but you broke it.
We can still take a picture. It just looks different now.
I
Yeah,
think
just
that's
because things
exactly
look
what
different.
B's like. Picture done, easy, there, got it. Mission accomplished.
That's
And
going in a presentation to the city council.
Pluto is going to be kind of like, just because things look different than they used to doesn't mean they're wrong. It's very defensive.
But what I'm trying to tell you is that sometimes people work very hard to create educational materials, and then you punch them, and that's upsetting.
Oh, I was here for all that. I remember all that. We're on the same page.
Okay, sure. Can I help you find any other exhibits? Have you finished gathering whatever you needed for your assignment?
Can you
And this is
show
like
us? Can you show us an example of the actual material that the supports are built out of?
um, and there is a like, I'm thinking of like reclaimed, when like reclaimed wood is used for like sculptural purposes. There is a column running through one of the exhibit halls that is about like yay thick, that's like a foot and a half, and is made of this like really gnarled, water damaged wood, with like part of it in the middle is like kind of rotting, and it's not structurally supporting this building, but it is like integrated into the building. And the docent points you to that and says that that was reclaimed from one of the tunnels that's no longer in use.
I look at it really closely. Can I tell if it has any properties that might prevent our house from collapsing, or are we just like in trouble? Does it inspire confidence?
It doesn't inspire confidence. It has some water damage. It looks like it has been through some things, but also that mine has been in operation for a long time. So, um, and it was from a retired tunnel. So part of why it may have that area may no longer be in use was because of like concerns about structural soundness. Do you ask the like museum staff further questions, or do you want to like roll for it? How do you want to play this?
I feel like I know how to test the integrity.
Please don't. It's the point that B has clocked that wood is made of tree, and tree is a plant.
But it's a dead one.
And so B is here like, you know who could probably tell us if this is actually like a usefully, structurally, has integrity will last a long time. Mom could probably tell us this. Mom could probably look at this wood and be like, that is from this tree, which is in fact known for its infrastructural soundness, and no, we're fine. Or look at it and be like, yee. And so I feel like B's brain has gone like, you know who will know this? Madison will know this, because tree, wood, plant, yes, good. And just needs to find a way to covertly communicate this to her siblings, so that
yes,
also
let's go home
we
and ask Mom so
will
quickly.
not like, Park will get the information that Park needs. Pluto won't punch any more parts of the museum. And we can all have a nice time. And so I think B will come up and kind of tug on Park's shirt and say like, hey, it might be nice to bring Mom to the museum and ask what she thinks about this really nice piece of wood.
What if we read the exhibit tag and took a picture for her, and then she could answer the question in our home?
In parentheses, I deeply do not want to come back to this.
I think
that's a great idea.
In the spirit of scientific inquiry, you could take your picture to ask Mom, and I could do my test.
And as you guys are having this discussion and hashing this out, Elena has already read the exhibit tag and recognizes the designator of what tunnel it was taken from, and has gone to ask the docent if tunnel and then like string of letters, whatever that is used to identify the tunnels, was like retired, or if that's one of the tunnels that had a cave in. The docent does not know, but has gone to get a curator, and Elena returns with the curator. And the curator looks at the tag, looks at this kid who knows a concerning amount about mine history, and is able to confirm that, yeah, this was a tunnel that had a cave in. There were like no casualties, some property damage. It was about 15 years ago, and a lot of materials from that area of the mine were reclaimed for display purposes. So a lot of what you see in the museum came from that site.
Do we know where that site is in the town?
It is, what other areas do we have in play? It is technically like Black Dog owns the rights to this area, but it's not what you would consider within the bounds of like Westland Salt, but for like census purposes, it like kind of is. It is about 2 miles past the junkyard. And the junkyard is already what you think of as the edge of town. And there since that sinkhole opened up, even though no one was harmed in it and it really didn't damage too much, um, people have been very reluctant to build on that land. So it's kind of just been like reforested.
That's great. We love trees. Reforestation is a good listen. There's climate stuff happening. Trees are good. B at this point is just like has sensed the general tension and is like trying to find a way to make this an okay situation.
And I
It's
think
not going great.
The curator and the docent that you're interacting with have both seen a lot of like kids from One Self Academy come through in the past couple of days to kind of go to the same handful of exhibits and take pictures of the same handful of like museum tags for this extra credit assignment. And they're able to notice that the things that you're asking are outside of the scope of that and are trying to get a feel for like, do you have personal interest or are you just like very devoted students? Is there a way to get extra credit on your extra credit? Like, what is your like end game here? Why are you asking so much? Because I don't think they're used to kids coming in and caring this much, but also seeming this like tense about it.
Pluto has
No
got
one is
another 90 seconds left in front of this post before they're not going to be able to prevent themselves from wood related violence.
Great. What do you guys do?
I think Park is understanding that like to Pluto, we either have to come back to this museum or we have to like take this wood back to mom. And so I think Park is like, okay. And I think I'm going to distract if maybe I don't know if this is a role, but I think I'd like to try to distract the docent and the curator and be like, I actually had a question about another exhibit. And I make like meaningful eye contact with both of my siblings, and I hope that they know like you're gonna break the wood and you're gonna take the wood and you're gonna run, and then I will meet you outside. And I'd like to be like, oh, I actually had a question about the exhibit on the different use cases of zinc in jewelry. Would I be able to like could I take you over to the thing that was grammatically unclear to me and like you could answer that question?
I'm trying to decide, do I want you to roll for that? I am gonna say I don't want CJ, that's a success for you because I don't see the possibility of failure as driving the story. Like I think that it's
Cool.
more narratively interesting if that just happens. I do want to see a role for like punching this wood post hard enough to secure a sample of the wood. So that would be with body, Sarah, and that's 1d6.
1d6. Okay, I'm just pulling up d6 simulator real fast. Right. 1d6. We're rolling. Are we going high to low or low to high for scores? Is it like 6 is the worst one you can get, right?
So you would give me the die roll and then add your body stat to that.
Okay, so
which might help you out.
I did get a 1.
Okay.
But my body is a 2. So it's a 3. It's a 3. Which is better than a 1 or a 6 because we don't believe in extremes. We live in a world of moderation.
Yeah, that is unfortunately a failure with a complication. which means that you I would like to hear from you what that looks like. That you're trying to like swing on this wooden post to get some kind of to test the integrity of it and also to maybe get a sample of it to take to your mother. And that does not work the way you want it to work. But additionally, something happens that is a consequence of that that drives the story forward. So let's see a bit of a yes and or a no but around this attempt. What do you think happens? How do you think this plays out for you?
I think I break at least 2 bones in my hand immediately. Post is not impacted.
Oh God.
And I have to imagine that at least one docent hears the noise and turns around.
Yeah, I would think that of the two museum employees that Park is distracting, you definitely catch one of them's attention. Um, let's say that it's the docent and not the curator, and they do not see the punch, but they do see your reaction to realizing that you have just fucked up your hand and are able to having seen you hit the other exhibit are able to piece together what happened. Um, and I would say,
Can I make a suggestion that maybe we
yes.
like cut scene to urgent care and we do not have the wood?
I was gonna say maybe in the ensuing chaos, B notices that there's like already a splinter on the ground, like because it's not actually supporting anything, it's just kind of decorative, and so maybe there's like a little bit of sawdust or something, and has like quickly collected it into B's pencil case or something. So it's like at least we have something. Even if it's not like a big chunk, it's like a little, but that's enough. It's a sample. Samples are small. And so like while like an ambulance is mom's being called, and it's like there's just enough time to like duck under and kind of scrape something up from the ground.
So if this were like a show, like a sitcom, I would imagine a shot of B trying to gather like whatever material you can get from the ground nearby, and followed by the docent like summoning security, but it's like one like dinky security guard for your little museum. And then we can cut scene to urgent care to get this hand addressed. And I would imagine that your mom was called for this. How do you think your mom reacts to you getting kicked out of the Zinc Museum and also breaking 2 bones in your hand?
I think she's not delighted.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna look to Park for like come up with an explanation, because this all made so much sense in my head at the time, but I cannot logically describe to our mother why I did the things that I did.
Well, my other question is, how much do you think she knows? Like, do you think that she had to come like get you from the Zinc Museum, or did you like autonomously get yourselves to urgent care and she met you there?
My internet was spotty for a second, so I apologize. I think Park is going to take the blame a little bit, actually, for this situation, because Pluto is already having a bad day. They have broken 2 bones. And also, I think Park sees this as an opportunity to springboard to what she views as the other issue, which is like our house is above a mine. So I'm like, I'm sorry, like Pluto was trying to get a piece of the wood off of the exhibit so we could take it to you, because those are the supports that are holding up like the empty mine tunnel under our house, and we wanted to make sure that like it's like structurally sound enough. Our house isn't going to collapse, is it? And I look to our mother with like a mix. I think like it started out as like Park was performing a little bit and ends on genuine concern.
And I think your mom is able to like put on being reassuring that the house will not collapse. Um, but she also like has not given much thought to the mine owning the land under the house. Because it's just I think maybe she grew up in West Linsall and like didn't grow up in a specific house, but and like purchased it as an adult, but is from the area. And it's just been like a fact of life that there's some level of mine activity under most parts of town. And it's just the kind of thing that like you don't think too much about and move on with your day. Um, but now that she's thinking about it, she's like, hey, that's kind of fucked up. But also like my kid just broke their hand and that might be the more immediate problem. So I think she is like, you know, it's okay to feel concerned and to feel upset about that. What really matters to me right now is that, you know, we're all safe and we're all together. And it's unlikely that anything is going to happen. And if anything did happen, what would matter to me in that situation as well would be that we were all safe and that we were all together. And keeping you safe is always going to be the most important thing to me. And also, I cannot believe you broke your hand. Did you feel angry or did you feel aggressive?
I'm gonna do like a big teenage sigh, like a big. I felt fine.
I think she's like not having it. People that feel fine don't haul off and punch museum exhibits that are technically city property. And maybe we should have
Mom,
a
they were
serious
helping
discussion
me.
about.
I try to cut in and like help.
Yeah, I was
I under,
helping.
I understand that, and I'm sure your sister is very grateful for your help. But I think we should talk about your propensity for punching things. That's not always the solution. In fact, it has caused you more problems than it has solved.
I don't even want to talk about it right now. And
Okay,
I'm like,
we can put a pin in it.
I'm gonna like glance over at the nurse who is like setting up the stuff that they're gonna use to set the bones in my hand. And I'm gonna be like, I want to talk about the mine. I want to talk about the mine. It's going to collapse. Our house is going to fall into a hole in the ground. I'm never going to be able to go to the junkyard through a secret tunnel because the secret tunnel will collapse and we'll all die. So maybe we can focus on that.
And B, at this point, comes in with a pencil case. Odd thing to bring to the discussion. And cracks it open, and there's like a shaving. There's like a couple of little splinters. They're like the ones that are very like flat and like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not like a long thin one. It's like a chip. And presents it to mom and is like, just we're not going to talk about where it came from, but just like this is the stuff that they use to reinforce the tunnels. We thought that you would be able to tell us that there's no problem, because this is really strong stuff, right?
She takes it. She looks at it. Because she is a plant witch, she can tell that it is pine and it is experiencing some water damage. Because she is your mother, she does not tell you that. um, she says that, you know, this is not a representative sample. Like this bit, it's from the column in the solarium, right? In that one exhibit that I like with the, yeah, okay. That that's like reclaimed from a tunnel that's not in use anymore. So that's really not going to give you the kind of data that you're looking for. But this is wood that had a job and did that job for a good long time and did a very good job of doing its job. And the wood that's holding up the other tunnels is also wood that is going to do a very good job.
This is enough to convince B that there's not a problem. Like, B
Okay.
is already pretty dead set on there not being a problem. So now that Mama has said it's gonna be fine, B is ready to go hard into the like, no, it's cool, everything's gonna be fine, and we're gonna be able to build a secret tunnel and do all this, you know, B is no longer concerned. B is
I'd
forcibly
like to
not
point
concerned.
out that I'm being exposed in the chat for not knowing how wood works, and I'd really like to thank everyone who's roasting me for not knowing how mines work, but also that's on purpose. It's gonna collapse. Stay tuned. Or there will be a threat of it collapsing. Yeah. I think Pluto, how do you handle like having to get bones set in your hand and like one of those like hand cast things?
Immediately thinking that this might make me able to punch things better. Because like
Yeah.
my hand hurts, but like now there's something super hard on my hand. And so like, could be interesting, could be useful.
Do you think your mom
has it occurred? I'm so sorry. Has it occurred to Pluto that this is going to make motorcycle repair really tough?
No, not at all.
Uh-oh.
No.
Oh shit. Okay.
Absolutely not.
Has it occurred to Pluto that we can sign the cast and that this is an opportunity to like sort of have another canvas that like B could use or that they could use?
Yes, absolutely, yes. Yeah. Pluto doesn't really know what the relevance of pine is, like what the situation there is. And they're a little like powers of perception are not on point right now because they're in some pain. But they do watch mom really closely when the news lands that like this is pine and that there's some water damage with her. And I'm curious about what Pluto sees there. I think Pluto's got like a lot of vigilance with people.
Yeah. Could I have you roll heart for that?
Yes. Is that also 1d6?
Yeah.
Okay. We're spinning. It was a 6, and I have a plus modifier. +3, so it's a 9.
Yeah. Success with advantage. Okay, so not only are you able to read what your mom is thinking, but you also in some way, which we can kind of collaboratively narrate, you some way exceed your own expectations and are able to get some kind of information or advantage that helps further your goals. So you're able to see that she is trying not to act concerned, but she is concerned. This is not a good sign. This combined with the fact that tunnels go under most of the town, but especially that there's a tunnel directly under, her family's home, is kind of getting her to start rethinking things that she's always taken for granted. Like she's always known that there's some level of danger of sinkholes or cave-ins with living over a mine, but never thought too hard about it because there's also danger of like sinkholes from a leaking water main, and no one seems too concerned about living in a town with running water. Like it's just a thing that happens if you live in a place. Every place has things that happen in it. If it wasn't here, it would be like hurricanes or earthquakes or something. She picked a place. The place has dangers, but now she's kind of thinking about it because this does not look good. And perhaps feels a bit powerless and doesn't know how to balance being the parental figure that you need in this moment, um, with having, her own like emotional experience of that doubt and sense of danger and precarity, and is trying to balance, I have a kid in urgent care with a busted hand. I'm frustrated with the kid with the busted hand for busting their hand. How do I deal with a cranky child who is in pain and keeps punching things, and also kind of like silo this emotional response? So you're able to see that she's having a reaction, but you're also able to see that she is very consciously shutting down that reaction.
I think it's going to worry me more that she's consciously shutting down the reaction because I'm not accustomed to her compartmentalizing quite that hard. So I think Pluto is going to immediately be like, hey, B, Park, I'm super hungry. Can you grab us burgers?
Yeah.
What kind of burger? From
Any
where?
kind.
What kind do you want on it?
Any.
I love a task.
I feel like B has caught, again, the very sort of sensitive has caught that there's like something going on here, and is like, this is not the time for specificity. This is a front. And he's like, sure, yeah, whatever you want. Come on, Park, let's go. And just kind of like grabs her hand and like drags her out. Like,
but do you want pickles or are those and then we're gone.
I have 2 questions for the burger squad. Do you think that Pluto's like general burger order well enough that this will be a non-issue? Like, is this worth any further role play of you going to acquire this burger?
I think we're the kind of siblings who know each other's burger orders.
Totally.
Okay.
I think Park is just like overly specific in that way. We're like, well, in 98% of situations, you get a double cheeseburger with no tomato and it has like the special sauce. But there's this one place where they offer bacon, and like the bacon has some kind of special quality. Yeah, and it's a game changer for you. Are we going to that? So it's unnecessary. We'll come back.
Okay.
We'll come back, Triumph.
And then my second assumption that I want to verify, just so that I make sure that we're on the same page storytelling wise, there is a burger place easily walkable from the urgent care. Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
100%.
You're off to get the burgers. Let's pivot back to Pluto. You are now alone with your mom and the nurse who is setting your hand.
So for my advantage that I get here, I feel like the advantage that I want to have is that I'm able to call out with enough specificity how much she was compartmentalizing that she's more inclined to be honest with me.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm gonna just say something super smart sounding. I'm gonna do a like, I feel like you are dissociating from your emotions in order to protect your children in this moment, and it makes me feel less safe than you intend, and I would like you to invite me into collaboration with you on this matter. Broken Bones like release one jolt of intelligence.
I feel like her reaction is like, when did my kid go to so much therapy? But I think her like actual reaction is, well, I'm very scared. The truth is that I am trying to be a good mom to you and your siblings, who have all had a very eventful past 90 minutes or so. And I am also very afraid.
Pluto's like has never seen mom afraid before, and has certainly never been told that mom is afraid, and the like desire to be invited into adult conversation has evaporated with this information. Pluto's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for this, but is brave and gonna push through and like, all right, so then how do we fix it?
I think she has like a long pause, but it's a thinking sort of pause. She's kind of trying to run through everything she knows about how Westland Salt is run, how Black Dog Mineral effectively runs this town from, decades of living here and knowing her share of the community who lives here, and is kind of like mental Rolodexing the potential solutions while trying not to give too much space to consequences. Because I think if she thinks too hard about mines collapsing or Black Dog Mineral going under and the town just falling apart, nothing is going to get done. So to her, she says, I think what we need to do is go straight to whoever's in charge of Black Dog Mineral and tell them that they're obviously cutting corners. They're obviously using like substandard practices and substandard materials, because she has enough knowledge of trees and plants to know that pine is not going to give you the kind of structural support that you need for this work, even though it is abundant in the area and cheap. And we need to demand some kind of accountability before something bad happens.
Okay, then let's do that. And there's like no option in Pluto's mind that we're not going to all do this together. That like all three siblings aren't going to be together in this.
Yeah. And I think your mom, like, everyone knows someone who works in the mines if they don't work in the mines themselves. Like, that is the main thing that is going on in this town in terms of like industry and employment. She does not work in the mines, but grew up with people who now work in the mines and is still like in contact with them. So you have like family friends who are in this line of work. And just from like shop talk, like she knows enough to know that the head person and at this current time would be Athena McConnell. And there have been, rumors about subpar work conditions or cutting corners for a while, but no one ever seemed to look too hard at it. And someone needs to start looking at it.
I would be pretty excited for us to, as a family, reconvene with burgers and go see Athena in our next scene, if that sounds cool to everybody else. If with maybe
I'm with that.
A short bio break for players beforehand.
I'm down. Let's take 5 and then do that scene with Athena and see where that takes us.
Just maybe some solutions.
Yeah.
Who's got one more hand? Come on.
Well, you
That means
also
one
have
more
like
shot.
a fiberglass club.
This is true.
Like, yeah, it might hurt to use it, but it sure does exist.
I have got 2 hands, and one of them is functional, and the other one is accessorized.
It would also really hurt the person getting punched.
I think it'll go great.
There we go.
This will go great for us.
There we go. That is a break, folks. And yeah, well, as per usual, break for you. Break for the stream means a break for you. So stretch, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, there we go.
What's funny is we're talking about taking it out.
Yeah. You're thinking about taking it out. There are no combat mechanics. If you really want to punch someone, feel free to roll for it. And we've done it twice.
Folks out there in the interwebs, we are back to finish off this lovely game of Plant and Girl Game where, wood will get punched, apparently, and, there will be additional hijinks. So, without further ado, I'm going to turn it back over to our game. As this is your warning that you'll be back on camera in mere seconds.
Are we back? Ooh, yeah, we're back. Okay. So we left off with getting burgers, having a bit of an interlude to discuss our next steps, which we know are going to involve going directly to the head of Black Dog Mineral, Athena McConnell, and confronting her about cutting corners in the name of profit, demanding some sort of accountability to prevent catastrophe from happening and befalling your town of West Linsall. So let's see. We've got our burgers. I'm pretty sure, we're still getting this cast set on Pluto's hand, but you could probably manage a burger one-handed if you're really, really determined. And how do you see this conversation going?
I think Pluto is like kind of inhabiting a little more grown up of a space than they were when everybody left. Like
Absolutely.
when B and Park left to get burgers, Pluto was full petulant teen, and now is very serious and very like a little self-serious now. A little like we make responsible decisions around here. That's what we do.
You being 25 on the inside is really starting to show on the outside in this moment.
I think also on the team getting burgers, B and Park, when they were waiting in line to place their order, B noticed or literally had to sit and wait with Park and kind of Park's tension around the fact that this is like a problem and is not gonna just solve itself, or not gonna just go away or be fine magically. And in the time that it's taken to like be in the line to get to the burgers, like kind of had to silently come to terms of like, okay, like my sibling's really upset about this, like probably something has to be done, if only just to resolve that upset. And so by the time everyone's kind of come back, like one more mind is determined to do something about this constructively.
So you reconvene with the shared knowledge that something's going to go down ASAP and immediately, because whatever is happening is not cool. Whether that's because, it puts your home in danger and your mom has showed you that she's afraid about that as well, or whether that's because, your big sister's upset and you want to help. So we've got some background knowledge where your mom has friends, you have family friends who work in the mines. You've got Elena, whose parents work in the mines, but I'm assuming Elena went home when you went to urgent care. And you know that the person that you really need to talk to see anything change is Athena, who's like at the top of the organization. And I wonder in this burger eating interlude if you have any kind of plan form or action plan. I think your mom kind of expresses some doubt of, nothing is going to happen if we just walk in there and demand to talk to her. Like it's just us four. Like, what are we going to do that actually puts like power behind this?
I have a suggestion.
Very open to it.
Put power behind our request, but I anticipate that there may be some disagreement with my approach.
And I feel like your mom knows what you're going to say, but is still like, all right, let me hear it.
Well, I think we could say, fix it or else will punch you in the face.
And I think your mom is going to veto that pretty quickly.
He never listens to me.
Well, just because, like, honey, you've already tried the punching thing strategy once today. And with
Twice,
your hand
and
in
once
the
it worked. Never
Twice.
mind. I immediately realized that I miscalculated. Walk it back. Never mind. You were right.
Okay, I want to hear more about other things that you. No, I don't. No, don't tell me. I don't. We're gonna put that over here. I don't want to know. However, no punching. No more punching today. My heart can't take it.
B is like fidgeting at this point with the little chip of wood that has like caused so much trouble. And like now that B's mind is really engaged on this, is trying to think about like, okay, this person, we've been told this person is the am I correct in assuming we've been told that Athena's who we're going to be talking to and who kind of will have the final say, and the reason that we assume that she's kind of cutting these corners is, you know, because of the fact that it's cool to save costs.
Yep, and she's the one driving that kind of cost.
She's the one who's really kind of spearheading that. Okay. So I think B, again, in B's idealistic 12-year-old mind, does manage to hit upon a little nugget of wisdom, which is that positives tend to be more useful than negatives, and suggests, you know, maybe instead of going in and saying why it's bad that she's doing things the way that she's doing, maybe we can go in and tell her how much better it would be if she did it differently. Like if we could come up with, you know, maybe there are places that don't have houses on top of them that they could dig tunnels into, and that would be better because then people's houses wouldn't cave in. And is trying to kind of formulate like a plan of attack that is like not based in here's all the bad things that you're doing and why they're bad, but instead something a little bit more like let us come together to find a way that your company can, you know, in the best language that a 12-year-old can amass, here's why it's good for you to stop that.
Yes.
Can I ask you guys a question, like not character to character, but like player to player? Are you also really struck in this moment by how common it is in real life, in situations like this, for people who have the amount of responsibility that the children we're playing have in this moment to come up with solutions that corporations and politicians should be coming up with themselves for problems that they cause?
Yeah.
I'm like filled in my heart with rage at how realistic it is for a child to be standing right outside of a corporation being like, I have to come up with a solution to present them, and I have to present it.
I will come up with a solution for you. Yeah.
And I'll tell you in a way that doesn't make you feel yucky inside and that won't make the money sad.
And if I do it well enough, then maybe it'll work. Yeah.
I have to teach you how to fix this problem that you created and are responsible for and have the acumen and finances to fix. I like the protectiveness I feel for B right now, as she is standing out here being like, I can come up with a solution for this. I can do it. Maybe they just dig where there aren't houses. And it's like, you are 12 years old. No grown-up should need you to come up with these ideas for them. And I feel the Pluto feelings about it. Anyhow, sorry for that distraction. Just
no, that was
it's so real, and it makes me want to do some things that for legal purposes would be considered satire and or a joke. In we go.
Corporate sabotage /J.
Sabotage their corporeal bodies. How do we think that this mining executive would respond to the sight of a child who's been injured in connection to a mind collapse.
What if we pretend that?
I think your
Yeah.
mom is like gears turning because that is a huge legal liability.
You know what corporations hate? Liabilities. Coincidentally, if
Okay.
every marginalized person in this country took out a life insurance policy, there would not be more unjust deaths that go unprosecuted of marginalized people. If you're queer or a person of color watching this, do that because they hate the liability. They hate it.
Get life insurance. I will say I grew up with insurance person drilled into me, get as much insurance as you can. Insure everything.
Not because the insurance will save you, but because the insurance company will sue the heck out of anybody who makes it so they have to pay you any money. And that's why corporations hate liability, because they're liability insurance. I'm sorry, I need to stop.
Listen, Plant Girl game, you come for the interesting little cute whimsical Plant Girl game, and you stay for the hot tips about how to take down systemic problems.
We destroy them through their liability insurance coverage. That's how we do it. I think they would be a little freaked out to see a kid in a cast.
Okay, I'm with it. Okay.
Can I throw in maybe again like kind of a word of God interesting connection? Perhaps maybe Lenny the Labrador maybe is Athena's dog, and maybe therefore Athena knows Pluto as the trusted dog walker. And so
this.
it's not just, oh, this is some kid. It's like, oh no, that's Pluto. I know Pluto takes good care of Lenny, my beloved Labrador.
Yes.
That's brilliant.
Yes.
That's brilliant both narratively and because while people who are in charge of huge corporations have a great eye toward their margin and what amount of risk they can and can't accept, they can't stand threats that are close to home. And coincidentally, many of their home addresses are readily available on the internet.
Just for anyone who wanted to know.
If I speak. /J. Nothing I say in the next 30 seconds can be taken seriously. Supreme Court justices' addresses are public and you can just send them rat shit. If you have rats, just send them rat shit. Anyway, I'm joking. I've never done that.
Or cricket. Both crickets and rat shit are very inexpensive to acquire.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that you can mail live bees through USPS?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that one.
Such an interesting and completely non-context fact.
I'm sorry we keep getting distracted, audience. We just keep on going on the most random tangents. We're all manic pixie dream they, thems, and hymns.
Succulents.
Your manic pixie dream succulent.
This is all in the context of a role play game, and it is fictional.
Okay. Is there anything else that you guys want to nail down in terms of details before we get into this last scene?
Yeah, I think I got a lot of ketchup on the base of my cast while I was eating the burger, so it looks like there's quite a lot of blood.
Yes.
Can I use my go it alone trait to
Absolutely, yes, you can.
like I think I'm like I gotta scout ahead to find out like how do we like stage this as well as possible, kind of to save us some time. So while other people are finishing up their burgers and getting the ketchup off of the cast that my sibling has to wear for many weeks, I sort of like do a runaround and identify like this is where we need to encounter Athena as a group to like maybe it's like one of the rare times per week that like Athena only walks this dog herself once a week, and it's like out on that dog walk so that there's like the maximum impact of like the dog also maybe being upset that Pluto is hurt, like that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're going ahead to scout out where Athena's at. I feel like I missed part of that.
Yeah.
Which might have been my Wi-Fi actually.
No, you're good.
Okay. You want to catch her on a dog walk and you're going ahead to make sure that you can do that. Yes?
Yeah, I'm like figuring out where she is so that I can come back and be like, okay, this is like the position we need to get into. Like this is where we're
Okay.
waiting. We're lying in wait to catch Athena at an optimally emotionally vulnerable moment.
So I think the main office for Black Dog Mineral in town is like up the street from your school, which is part of why the dog is able to make frequent appearances at your school. Because Athena is also a bring your dog to work type dog parent. So she is coming from the office. She's probably planning to work late today, has a lot of like paperwork and stuff to handle back at the office, but is taking the dog for an early evening walk, might grab some dinner while she's out, and then circle back to the office for a few more hours. And is just kind of like ambling from like the block where your like school and the office are towards the more like I think you have like one street that's got like commercial shops on it, which is where you would find like the Forbidden Thrift Shop and the burger joint and wherever she's going to end up going to grab food. And it's probably within like 3 to 4 blocks of the urgent care. Does that give you the information that you're looking for, TJ?
Totally. So I think maybe we want to be like sort of at like if you're taking the dog for a loop around the school, like the last turn that you would get like on the way back to her house so that she doesn't have the
Yeah.
excuse of like, oh, I'm so sorry, I have to. It's like, no, the walk is done. You're on your way back home.
Yeah. Okay. And is there anything else that you guys want to do, or do you just kind of try and strategically make sure that you're in her route to catch her?
I would be open to being like on the ground, scream crying, if we think that would help anything.
I think that's absolutely necessary to the plan working.
Yeah.
I want to I would love for you as a trio to be able to articulate what the desired emotional response is from Athena upon seeing this child scream crying on the sidewalk. And then Sarah, I'd like you to roll with heart.
Okay. So first of all, I want the dog to break away and come running to me because we are
Okay.
best friends. This dog sees me on the ground, no matter what noise I'm making. This dog is like, I'm coming over to put my face in your face the way that Labradors do.
Yes.
And then I've
Perhaps
got
the dog notices the ketchup, and this is
The dog is definitely noticing the ketchup.
I've got full on hamburger hands. I went no napkin on this.
Ooh, okay.
I'm bait. Park, what is your plan? Like, what role do you want to play in this confrontation?
I think I will like keep my distance. I think it will seem too convenient if we're all right here and like haven't helped you yet. So I'm wondering if it's like you have Athena call us and then we show up as a family conveniently close by. And then at that point, once you've sort of gotten to the emotional angle of like, I was in the mine and it collapsed and like that sort of thing, or like I was hurt in some way, then I'll come in with the like trying to exact some sort of promise or bargain piece.
Okay, I do love that. I'm gonna need something from B. We've come up with this plan. Everybody is getting ready to skedaddle so that I can be alone on the sidewalk. I'm gonna grab you before you leave and be like, B, you know a lot about art stuff. You know about paper mache, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do I get this off right now?
Ooh, And perhaps in B's little like, pencil case toolkit situation, this is not a fiberglass. This is just like a sort of
It's just plaster.
Yeah.
It's just plaster.
We went to the DeVry Art School urgent care, and all they had around was plaster of Paris. Don't worry,
all right, baby.
There's newspaper headlines wrapped around there.
Local mine.
Local mine is perfectly safe.
So perhaps B pulls like it's not like a pocket, but like a file or something, like some sort of, little arts and crafts tool, like a little metal tool, and slips it over to Pluto, like we can saw this off of you kind of thing. We can wiggle it off of you. And if you're gonna, as long as your fingers are gonna be okay.
My friend, that's gonna hurt so much.
It's gonna hurt.
Pluto is gonna look me in the eye and be like, I got 10 of them for a reason. Now get out of here.
B's like inspired. My sibling's so cool.
This also is going to make the scream crying Veritas.
But also very, like, genuine. It's got hurt.
Yeah, it's going to be like, I'm a method on this one. All right, so I'm going to saw this off really fast and then jam it in one of my coat pockets so that I've got my broken hand fully on display, ketchup included.
Oh my
screaming,
God.
crying, face swollen, like, oh my God, it hurts so bad on the ground.
Can I have you roll with heart? And let's say that Athena she's coming around that corner right now. You hear the dog.
Swear to God, if this roll doesn't go well, I'm gonna feel normal about it. Okay, we're rolling. I got a 4, and I have 3 modifier. That's a 7.
That is a success. That is a success. No advantage, but a success. Hell yes. Okay. Athena comes around the corner. The dog is leading the way. The dog knows the route. The dog is walking back to the office. The dog tears off the leash, comes running. You've got, how big is your Labrador? It's like 70 pounds. You got like 70 pounds of Labrador coming right at you, distraught and concerned. Followed by a woman in like a business suit who is a little bit upset that her dog ran away until she realizes that it's you and is like, oh, Pluto, why are you on the ground? Why are you screaming? What is going on here?
I'm going to hold my hand up like this so she can see. It is like the size. It's like this. I have this for a hand. And I'm gonna go, my hand, and then hold up my cell phone, which has my mom's phone number on it, and hit with my club fist dial.
Oh my God. And as the dog keeps like investigating, and mostly like the dog is concerned, but Lenny is also very invested in your burger hands and is like licking the burger off your hands and kind of wagging, but not a very like amped wag. Athena comes closer and is like, okay, we need to get you help. We're good. Okay, you got your phone. Okay, you called your mom. Okay, good. And urgent care is just on the street. We can take you in and see what's up. If that looks broken. What happened?
I can't go to urgent care because I don't want to get you in trouble.
Ooh, how does she
they'll ask what happened and they'll have to tell them about the mine.
And she's like down on your level and is like, okay, even if you don't tell anyone else, can you please tell me what happened?
How close are my siblings?
How close did you arrange them to be?
You guys were like right around the corner, right?
We're like within
You're muted, CJ.
You're muted.
I'm muted. I think we're within hearing distance so that at like right the opportune moment we can like walk right up. Yeah.
Pluto, what happened? Yeah.
and then start having that logical explanation. Yeah.
Okay.
So when you two show up, I'll be like, remember I told you guys I was gonna investigate the open part of the mine in an unsafe residential area?
And I think Athena is like immediately like, oh, I can't say anything without my lawyer. Like, you see the moment that she's like, this is a kid that I care about and I'm concerned about. However, I can no longer say anything. And is just like, okay, your mom is going to be on her way. Okay, well, where did you say you were?
Actually, where is our mom? Where did she go?
I think she's with us. I think
Mom's
she's
with
with the
us.
two of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
Okay,
it's
okay.
Yeah.
it's at this point that the two of us and our mom show up, and we're like, I think I'm immediately like, Pluto, what happened? Giving you the opportunity to say your line again, just really for effect.
Right. The like, you remember how I told you I was going to go and investigate the mine opening that is near our residential area, a highly populated area with children everywhere? Do you remember how I told you that? The
Yes,
unmarked
you told
mine
us
entrance
earlier
that has
today.
no safety precautions around it whatsoever.
Mhm.
Well, there was this pine beam that had significant water damage. And look what happened, because we can't actually lie, like, because there was a pine beam with significant water damage. And look what happened.
I think the most fucked up thing about this is that there are several areas around your town that are potentially unsafe that Athena has a kind of peripheral awareness of. And I don't think she knows exactly where you live because you aren't on that level of familiarity. So when you mention an unmarked unsafe mine vent with a pine beam with water damage in a residential area, the mental math she is doing is which one?
Yeah. Which one of these 3 or 4 are you talking about?
Yeah, which one of these is the problem? And how can I cover this up?
Mm.
So I feel like she's trying to triangulate in as much detail as she can get without implicating herself at all.
I
Where
look right at
exactly
her.
you're talking about.
I look right at her and I'm like, wow, that's so wild, Pluto. I feel like this is a news story.
And Athena's panicking on the inside, but you don't make it in business without being able to panic on the inside and not on the outside. I assume. I don't know how corporations work. She's like, well, I'm sure we can make sure that your hand gets taken care of and that appropriate compensation is made for any injury and distress. And there is really no need for this to be any kind of news story. I mean, it was, an accident.
I take out my
And-
flip phone. I take out my flip phone and I'm like, I'm calling a reporter right now unless you fix the mine damage under our house and under all of the other houses that there are. And I won't stop with one reporter. I'll call all of them in the
I'll
state.
call them all.
I
think
really
Dee will
feel like
interject with like, what if, because we see beautiful Lenny here is like still going to town on Pluto's hands. Like, what if Pluto had been walking Lenny? Like, then what?
and I really think that you've gotten to a point where Athena is not going to call your bluff on this, even though internally she's like, how many reporters does this 14-year-old know? Like, what contacts do you have to actually like leverage that threat? But and she, she's she's stumped on that one. She says, I was on my way back to the office and I will see what we can do about uh, making sure that we increase our standards of safety so that this kind of incident does not happen again.
Pluto's gonna stand up and do a little moment
Oh, I love this so much.
holding Lenny's leash, take 2 big steps back, and say in an extremely calm, no longer hysterical voice, like, perfect, we'll dog sit Lenny until you're finished with this project.
Oh.
Did you just take my dog?
It's
I'm
not
helping you.
taking. Pluto always Pluto always dog sits for you. They're helping.
Yeah, do you not anticipate that you'll need a dog sitter as you do this complicated project?
I step in front of Pluto so that Athena can't take the dog back.
Athena is panicking and it is no longer internal. It is just panic. And like looks at
These
you,
children are
looks at your
dog
mother,
napping.
looks at you, looks at your mother, like Scooby-Doo villain level. I can't believe these kids are doing this to me. Like, and says, honestly, I can accept that. That is fair. I am headed back to the office right now without my dog.
Great.
I nod.
He like takes Athena's hand and is like, on the bright side, Lenny really likes Pluto. Like this might be really fun. Like this will be a good time.
And I'm gonna peek around Park and be like, I'm gonna introduce Lenny to our ghost.
No questions about the ghost. Lenny is allergic to corn. He eats a special medical diet. Can you please pick up his food?
We already have it from the last time my dog sat.
And Athena is like realizing how calculated this was and how thoroughly she is being like played right now. Yeah. Like, and says, okay, as I said, I'm going to go back to the office. It is after close of business, so I can't guarantee what will get done today, but I will commit to working on this project. And okay. Is there anything else that y'all want to do in this scene, or do you guys want to jump to an epilogue?
I think epilogue.
I'm happy
Yeah.
to
Okay.
let's epilogue it up. Let's do it.
All right. Let's say it's how long does it take for a casting off? Let's say it's like 2 months later, because that means that Pluto's hand is fully healed and there is significant like restructuring and stabilization work going on in the mines throughout the entire network of tunnels that's been underway since about, I would say you had Lenny for about 7 to 10 days while things got moving. And then since then, there's been even more substantial progress that's been on an ongoing basis. Elena has also been able to kind of report on what's going on because her dad is working like in the kind of like mine engineering restructuring stability improvement project right now instead of his main job of extracting as much zinc as possible in the 12-hour shift from the mine. But it's long enough later that your hand is healed. And I think you guys have made really substantial progress with the motorcycle. And I would love to have a little post-credits moment like at the junkyard if y'all are cool with that.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. I wonder if there's a specific question that you guys want to answer with this scene. I'm just thinking of what is a good note to end it on and have you all ride off into the sunset. when you guys work on the motorcycle, or once you guys like know that you got it, that like it's going to start and it's going to run, would you bring like any of your like friends or peers to like see your victorious moment, or is that like just you guys?
I want to say it's just us. And I also want to say that maybe right before this, like, yes, we know it's going to run, but what we do is go to Pluto's room and we all pick like little motorcycle jackets.
Yeah, I think we all get to pick. Maybe B finally gets the flower jacket.
It finally
It finally fits. In that 2 months, B has gone through that growth. We talked about leggy.
Yes.
The legginess has finally evened out a little bit. B finally.
Oh, I bet the ghost is so happy for you. The ghost must be
just
so
over
proud.
the moon about it, and finally gets to shrug it on and feel the warmth and care of their sibling on their shoulders like a shield, and feel really ready for this incredibly dangerous thing that they're about to do.
And before you guys actually get to the junkyard, I have a question. CJ, I have a question about Park. Do you think you figured things out with Violet, or have made any progress towards figuring things out with Violet?
Absolutely not.
I think that
we're gonna
it's
like drive the motorcycle by Violet's house and like maybe throw an egg at her window.
Or just like rev the engine really loud to make sure that she hears, because she'll think the noise is so annoying, and not because she'll look out the window and see and think you're so cool.
Definitely. I think we have to drive by Violet's house, and the more I like talk about it, the more confused you guys are about how this will upset her, and it's fine. That's just the plan.
But
I also think you had like a softball game earlier in the day, and your mom and your siblings were like in the stands at the game, and your mom is starting to figure out what's happening, even if you don't know it yet. And maybe if you give it like 2 to 3 more months, she's gonna be like, hey, so about Violet, what's going on there? But
Seems reasonable.
yeah, you guys are all headed to the junkyard, and I feel like we didn't pick a name for the first lesbian ever invented, the junkyard manager. But as
Her name
you guys
is
get ready
Sappho.
her name is Sappho. Yes. As you guys get ready to start this motorcycle, Sappho is like off to one side, like watching, but not in a like in a disapproving way. I almost feel like, Pluto, you've like made some strides in your relationship with her, where she may have even admitted that she didn't think the motorcycle was a good idea in the first place, but she actually really does respect the work you've done on it.
It means a lot to me.
And Sappho's watching, and you're getting ready to start this motorcycle. And what happens?
Okay, so have any of you ridden a motorcycle before in real life?
I have been on a motor. I have not been the driver, but I have been on a motorcycle. Yes, I have been passenger.
Okay, so here's what they don't tell you about being the motorcycle driver. Motorcycles are incredibly heavy. When you're the passenger on a motorcycle, someone else is keeping the motorcycle upright. And so you get the bicycle experience of getting on the thing, and then it's relatively just about like keeping your own body steady. But when you are the motorcycle pilot, you have to not let it tip over. And that's really difficult when, for example, your legs are short child legs, or the short legs of, for instance, an adult who happens to be the same height you were when you were in 6th grade. Just for example. And so you can start the motorcycle, but then you have to not let it tip over. And I think we are all 3 stacked onto this motorcycle. And whoever's in front starts it. And then it immediately starts to tip, and we all put our legs out to try and prevent it from tipping, and then it tips the other way, and we put our legs out that way. And then Sappho yells, "Don't let your feet touch the ground while it's moving." And whoever's in front releases the clutch, and we go forward.
I would love to end it there if that's cool with y'all. That is so beautiful.
Oh,
my
literally
God.
right off into the sunset.
Oh my God.
Or into like a nearby pile of trash.
Into a pile of trash. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's perfect for like 6 seconds. And that's all we
Sometimes
need.
that's all you need. 6 seconds
Yeah.
is an eternity in the right frame of mind.
That's all you need.
When you are a child, 6 seconds is a lifetime.
Exactly.
This
Oh my
game
God.
was lovely. Y'all created something so beautiful. That was really wonderful.
You guys, I had so much fun. Thank you so much for playing and
I
for
love
lending
how,
your
like,
creativity to this.
over the top it was. Like, we're punching wood posts, we're stealing dogs who are fine with it. Like, it's we're living in the speculative world where corporate interest can in fact be influenced by one individual's emotional state. I love that.
Yeah, that was very it's fun to pretend.
I liked that bit.
Sometimes, like, I feel like we had that moment where gameplay got too real, and then we got the escapism of 3 very determined kids actually saving the world.
It was
Good
the
balance
wishbone
of-
moment.
Yeah. All right, I think that is it from us.
All right, I'm jumping back in. I didn't want to cut you guys off in your post game discussion. I agree, that was absolutely fabulous, and so much fun, and riding off to the sunset. I love it. Thank you, as I said backstage. Thank you for coming and joining us. This was a blast. And I know we're hitting people's pumpkin hour, but very quickly, you should let people know where to find your amazing work, because all of you have amazing work out there. And I'm just going to go in the order of people on my screen. So, CJ, tell people who you are, where to find your work.
I'm CJ Linton. My pronouns are he, him. You can find my work on my website, cjlinton.com, or my games specifically on my itch page, which is Near Futures.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, and we're going to be hopefully playing one of yours later on in the season, which is going to be pretty cool. Gailey.
I am Sarah Gailey, and you can find everything you need to find about me at my website, sarahgailey.com. You can subscribe to my newsletter, Stone Soup, there, which is the best place to keep on top of everything that I'm doing, all the work I have coming out. And also I have some pretty amazing work from guest contributors, including an upcoming essay series about our relationships to food, which is open for submissions. It is a paying submissions call. If you have any interest in writing about your relationship to food and sharing recipes with people, send me your submission. I'm paying money. Like it's a real exciting project, and I would love you to be part of it.
That's very cool. I didn't actually know about this. That's awesome. Where am I going in order? Sienna.
My name is Sienna Tristen. I am a poet, author, cultural worker. By day, I work with The Word on the Street Toronto, which is Canada's largest free-to-attend book and magazine festival. Very exciting there. So you can go check them out at toronto.thewordonthestreet.ca to see everything that we're coming up with in the 2023 season. When I'm not doing that, I am writing things such as this beautiful chapbook called Hortus Animarum, a new herbal for the queer heart. So following the plant theme, this is a bunch of prose poems about plants that I love and my relationship to them. You can email me or get to my website, siennatristen.com, to talk about it. It's a limited edition, so there's only a few of them left. Yeah, you can find anything that you need on my website, and I'm also, until the day it goes, on the Bad Bird app at Sienna Tristen.
I have a copy of that chapbook, and it is as exactly as delightful as it sounds. So get them before they disappear. And last but certainly not least, Dom.
Yeah, I'm Dominique Dickey. I use they, them pronouns. I am the designer of Plant Girl Game, along with some other games. The best way to find my work is to go to dominiquedickey.com. If you want to stay up to date off of the Bad Bird app, you can click subscribe on the homepage, and you'll get email when I update things there. Which will be, I won't like clog your inbox. It's just whenever I have something new out. Also on the Bad Bird app at Dom S Dickey, I'll be there until we turn the lights off, and I hate that about myself. But if you're there too, we might as well party about it. Um, I think those are all my things. Also, like Instagram, Tumblr, sites that I'm less active on. Tumblr is for shit posts. Instagram is for photos of my face. Same URL everywhere.
I love it. And for those of you out there who read short fiction, Dominique has a phenomenal story that I read in Fantasy Magazine. I forget how many issues ago that was now, but it's like just absolutely blew me away. And if I could remember which issue, I would say so, but I can't. But go check out Fantasy Magazine as well.
There are links to all my short fiction on my website as well.
Beautiful. Love it. And once again, I'm Brandon Curley. I'm your disembodied voice in the background that only the players can see. I'm on BrandonCurley.com, also on the Bird app if you want to find me there and elsewhere. And you can find Bag of Giving still on the Bird app for now until we figure something out. But yeah, go check out future stuff. I think our next game is December 12th. And oh my God, I think I'm DMing it. And we're going to do Humblewood.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks. It's going to be great. We're going to do Humblewood, which is a 5th edition setting from Hit Point Press. With like talking animals and stuff, and it is I'm going to mix it up. John Joseph Adams, Premi Mohammed, Darcy Little Badger, and Curtis Chen are going to be our players for that. So stay tuned. And again, thanks again for our players. Go check out Plant Girl Game, pre-order it, enter our giveaways. That's it for us. Have a good night, folks.
Thank you all so much for spending time with us.